out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? You are to the Apartment 5B podcast, hosted by your man Kill. I got my squad with me in effect as always. My brethren, my Aries brother, same birthday, Vegas and Kill in Vegas. 4 albums, 5 albums under our belt. I don't even know how many albums we got at this point under the belt. How many we got, babe?
I don't know, man. I've been drinking. You gonna put me on the spot right now?
Let's see. We got the Gray Area. We got, what was the sophomore joint? You're all welcome. The third joint was
Keep Calm.
Then the next one was Keep Calm. We brought friends. Then we got Will Matt. So we got 5 joints. We got 5 joints. It's a goddamn shame when you don't know how many kids you got. Like, I feel like a hood father. Like, nigga, I asked one of my peoples in my team, so I was like, how many kids you got? He was like,
Nah.
Yo, dead ass. Like, he was like 7, and then my homegirl who worked there was like, nah, nigga, you forgot Anthony. He's like, oh yeah, my bad, 8. We got 8. Got 8. You know, so.
Was that Nick Cannon? Nick Cannon work with you?
Nah, it wasn't. Here's the funniest story about this dude, and I don't want to get too off topic, but it's crazy. His daughter was in my program, and I didn't know they were even related for 4 years, bro. They'd be in the same room, never speak. It was never, hey dad, never a hug, never nothing. And then just one day it was like, oh, such and such is, such father. And I was like, yo, I've never even seen them speak. Wow. You know what I mean? So it's just like, that's crazy, right? That you in the same room as your pop numerous times and don't even speak. Like, there was never even a hug, a hi dad, a hi daughter, how was school, nothing.
It's possible. Because if me and my father was in the same room, like, these niggas look alike, but they never say shit to each other. So.
But and the sad part is they both live in the same neighborhood. But not to belabor that, but you know what I mean? So we got 5 albums. Yeah, we got 5 albums under our belt. Check them out, VegasWorldInc.bandcamp.com. Check them joints out. The Willmatic, one of my favorite joints, just talking about Vegas's cousin Ill Will, the Queensbridge legend. So very dope album. So if you haven't heard that, definitely check that out. I Am God. What's going on, good brother? Out the shot. What's going on?
Chilling. Can't call it, man. Another day, another dollar. Just trying to live and maintain, bro.
All right, no doubt. My brother Gnu from Morgan, I always tell the story when I didn't like There's a Dark Side. He came over my crib and was like, nigga, do you smoke? I said, no. He said, well, motherfucker, there's the goddamn problem. That's why you don't like There's a Dark Side. I've, of course, going on to love There's a Dark Side. I'm just talking about when it dropped. You know what I mean? So I always talk about that time you came through the crib.
You know what's crazy though? Redman don't like There's a Dark Side.
I heard that.
You know what I mean? That's crazy. Whenever people ask him about, I just saw him on I believe it was either top. No, it was a Just Blaze, fresh pair of podcasts or something.
Oh, the Kicks, the joint that he got with the sneakers.
Like, no, I don't even fuck with. He said I was on drugs then. I don't even remember the shit. He said I don't remember no rhymes. He said that's why I don't perform this shit. I was like, damn, that's like my favorite joint from Redman. But
yeah, I've seen. It seems like that's the thing. Like my favorite joint is What, but I see more people like, look, There's a Dark Side and Muddy Waters more than they like. What. You know,
Dark Side was wild. That was his wild side. That was like one of my. That's like a top 5 Redman joint for me.
Yeah, no doubt. And I got my brother Fabian. Let me explain this to brother, one of the dopest podcasts out here in the sports game. Called this dude when I was coming to Brooklyn. I said, yo, Ben Simmons is fucking playing the Sixers. Let's go. He popped up. He was right there with me at the scene, him and my man Penny. What's going on, bro?
Shout out to Penny. Everything is good. Thanks for inviting me again. Good to see. I already know he's a good dude because you know connected to you and all that. But anytime, bro, you already know I got you. and vice versa. You know how it goes. And you said something about Redman. What was the album with Sim who got the key to my Beamer? Oh my God,
Doc's the name.
Oh,
Yeah.
Doc's the name.
So, but yeah, that's the name. By that time, for you, Redman was wow, damn. I think I was born in '82. How do you guys feel about this? Is that like we call Redman at the end, or we just he's more
I'm
commercial?
probably the youngest out the
For me,
group.
Muddy
I'm
Waters
36,
was
so
like
I
his
probably got
last.
on Red around like Doc's the name. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I knew who he was because from How High, that's been my shit forever. Him and Meth, the How High joint, and the first time I probably could remember hearing him was on some Eric Sermon shit. You know what I'm saying? But the first time like I really got into Red, it was probably Doc's the name, and I probably went back to like Muddy Waters and then like There's a Dark Side and What the Album and all that shit. But Doc's the name was probably like my not official introduction, but that's what made me start really, really listening to Red. I already knew who he was though.
Yeah.
And for me, What was 92, my freshman year at Morgan. So I think it's just so many memories that's just tied into that joint right there. You know, just Ganuno, everybody was playing. You couldn't even walk nowhere on campus and not hear something from Red. Watching Nuggets, you know what I mean? Tonight's the Night, you know, just anything off that joint. All right, y'all, let's jump right into it. Gotta give a shout out to my man at Phenom78. He gave me this topic. I wanted him to rock with us, but schedules couldn't connect. He said, let's do a show. He wanted to for us to do a show about 5 of your fave artists who don't have a 5 mic album. What is your favorite album from them and what kept it from being a 5 mic album? You know what I mean? I love the topic because it's a thinking topic. I mean, I think it's one of them topics where we may name some albums ourselves that aren't 5 mics. Other people may be like, damn, that was 5 mics for me or whatever like that. I'm gonna set it off. This is one of my favorite hip hop groups, Dilated Peoples. You know what I mean? And a lot of people I've learned throughout the years really don't fuck with Dilated, which is shocking to me because I think Eva's a dope rapper. I think Ira Science is dope. DJ Babu, one of the dopest DJs ever. Alchemist is doing their beats. I'm talking about Alchemist using drums. Alchemist is doing their production, but a lot of people don't rock with them. For me, my favorite album, and it's hard with them because I love them all, like The Platform, Expansion Team, Neighborhood Watch, 2020 Directors of Photography. I love them all the same, but I think the biggest thing for me with Dilated is just their beats. Like sometimes, and really maybe not even their beats, but just they had too many songs. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm always like, you know, I'm looking at Expansion Team. I like 5 out of like 17, and Neighborhood Watch, I like 2020, I like 9 out of 14. So like the songs that they have are really dope, but it never really just folds over into the whole album. You know what I mean? Alchemist usually does the bulk of their production. Babu and Ev pop in from time to time. But to me, that's just what it is. I mean, they got some incredible, dope joints. My favorite album is Neighborhood Watch. One of the things that I think sinks this album is, I don't know if y'all remember this song, they had this joint called This Way that Kanye West produced for them. And it was just like a fake Get By. It was just a literal, like, blatant bite of Get By. Like, from the chorus to the beat, just everything. And then that was the time that if Ye produced for you, Ye had to jump on it. And it's like, what Ye is talking about don't even fit in what they talking about. And you know, he talking about Qs and AKAs and like they talking about life and real stuff. So again, I love Dilated. It's no disrespect, but just to me, they just don't have that 5 mic album for me. So that's what it is for me. Babe, what you got for you? Which one of your peoples?
So like when you sent the topic, you know, it's difficult, right? Because all your favorite artists most of the time have a classic to you, you know what I'm saying, or generally speaking, but also I have hip hop and R&B, just to keep it that way. But I'm gonna go with Game, and Game he didn't start out as one of my favorite rappers because I didn't like all the name dropping, even though I like the singles off that first album. But I think later on, you know, I started to pay attention to his work, and I was like, damn, these albums kind of crazy. And especially later in his career, he started to make some really dope shit that went under the radar. My favorite out of his catalog is probably 1992. It came out in 2016. I just think it's perfect for him, right? Because it's storytelling, it contextualizes LA in 1992 from his perspective at his age, but also me being a big West Coast rap hip hop fan back in the early 90s. I think he really captured what that time was, from rapping about the riots and all that good stuff. So I just feel like for him, the thing that gets in the way of people even hearing a good album from him is the name drop. And I felt like this was one of those albums where you tell people like, yo, no, not this one. Like, this one has a purpose. You know what I'm saying? So everything is said with a purpose, whether it's a name drop or him talking about a time or the movies from that time. So when I heard it, I didn't expect much, but I always checked for him. And when I heard this album, I was just like really surprised, but I was more surprised that not a lot of people were talking about it. And I kind of feel like if this was in a different setting, or if this was his debut or whatever it may have been, I think people would speak about Game differently as a result. But for me, I mean, I see it as a personal classic, but I can see why some people, given his reputation, would feel like I don't know if I want to hear that, but it's dope, so people should check it out.
Yo, let me ask you this: what didn't you like about the documentary, the first one? Because I think that's a classic. But what didn't you like about it? Was it the name dropping and all that?
The name dropping, because as an MC, I mean,
right.
What I'm going to talk about everything that every other MC did in my raps, like what kind of thing is that? You know what I'm saying? And I thought he was dope. And it was kind of like you had to weave through the name dropping to catch the shit that was dope about him. And I tried to, convince myself, oh, well, his name is The Game. That's why he raps about that. But then I started to think, well, how many fucking albums you going to do with that? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but I think he's far beyond like being a guy who's strictly name dropping. Even this last album, I just feel like it was too many songs. But at the end of the day, it wasn't bad at all. So.
And it's funny you said that from an MC perspective, because from a producer perspective, I love the album. It was like an Illmatic. It was like Dre, Just Blaze, Kanye West, Buck Wild, like high tech. Like literally, this dude pulled in every heavy hitter producer there was. You know what I mean? And I wasn't even mad at the documentary too. I don't think it's a classic, but I wasn't even mad at that joint. You know what I mean?
Great album.
Shout out to my man Joe Rose, because he always talks about the game and he always stresses him. I think what ruins the game is kind of like what Kanye is going through now on a smaller scale. Just all the antics outside of rapping. Right. Anytime he raps is like nobody has ever said Game is whack ever, and it's just the other stuff, who he's hanging around, the antics of it. But I'm not sure if he'll be able to sell or get whatever he gets out of the commercial side of it and make money without the promotion if it's never happened before. But the one that really, because I'm not, you guys listen deep with him, especially the older I got, the less I listen to music. But what do you think of the Jesus piece? I thought Jesus piece was just like every beat was hard, and he would just he was spit.
Piece was dope. I just felt like it was like a fucking cornucopia of every rapper on the planet. Like every song was featuring everybody. Like there may have been a feature literally on every song. And I'm just like, bro, is this even your album or is this a compilation album? Like, nigga, you dropping 116 per song on your fucking album. Like Pusha's on it, like Future. It was like every rapper from every genre of hip hop was on the album. But I feel you. I love the production. My only knock on it was just like, damn, bro, like, God forbid, I just want to hear you. You know what I mean? Like, so, but that's the old head in me, because I'm from that era where there was only one guest MC on your album back in the day, if that. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to hear. But then I also get the music business. You trying to sell records to that market down there in the South. So you got to get some of them Southern niggas. You trying to sell records over here. You know, so it's always about also the time of it. So, I get it that you got to do that to sell the records, but It's just like, you know, it's like if you want to go on a date back in your day with your shorty and she got to bring her little sister with you. It's like, nigga, like, yo, I want to kick it with you. Like, what you bringing here? What you bringing shorty for? Like, I got to bring her, you know, my mother told me to bring her. It's like, fuck, okay, fine. But, you know, that's how I almost feel half the time. Like, dog, I want to hear, like, even West Side Gun. I'm one of the few people who actually like West Side Gun rapping. You know what I mean? And now his albums just seem to be like a Pete Rock soul survivor. Like, it's like, I'm a rap, but I'm going to let 30 other niggas, you know, kill the game and everything like that. So, you know.
Nah, he's a great. No, West Side Gun has this kind of Ghostface sound to his voice, and just, I like when people just come out of nowhere, can just sound like they come out of nowhere. Like, to me, Ghostface and Raekwon, and they pull from these I don't know, from out of nowhere, and they just somehow it lands and it flows. West Side Gun is like an artist to me, and when he raps, I think it's dope.
The first time I heard West Side, I thought he was a girl. So dead ass. Dead ass. I heard him on Royce the 5'9". He had a joint called The Governor's Ball, and it was West and Conway. And I thought West Side Gun was a girl, just dead ass. So, but I get when people say they don't like West. Like, I understand it. If you don't like his high pitched voice and he's not super duper lyrical, then you're not gonna like West. You know what I mean? So, you know, I look at it like that. But West I fuck with West personally. Guy, who you got for one of your joints? Who makes your list?
Hey, we starting out heavy, man. I love this dude, but I got Meth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I heard a lot of people say Tical is a classic. I'm not one of those. Like, I fuck with it. To me, Tical that's my favorite Meth album. I think maybe because I ain't know until recently that one of RZA Floods knocked out some of his shit too. You know what I'm saying? Tical was supposed to be different than what we got, and I think he could have probably came close to a classic with Tical 2000 Judgment Day, but I think that shit was a little too top heavy. Way too many joints, a lot of skits. He had some bangers on that old, but my favorite Meth joint is Tical. I just feel like, as dope as it was, it's a little redundant. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, I feel like Meth shit would fit perfectly in what the underground is today, with the Rome Streets and the Griseldas and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not, a lot of these underground artists don't put a lot of diversity in their shit. You know what you're gonna get when you hear them. You know what I'm saying? Or when they put out a project. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't saying by no means was it whack. I love Tical, but I never really looked at it as like a classic. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was 94, and even though that was a little just before my time, you know what I'm saying, really getting into rap, going back and looking at that shit, you had Ready to Die, you had Illmatic, you had so much shit come out in 94, and I just think Meth was just like a tier below, you know what I'm saying, what we call a classic from that year. So starting out heavy, man, I got Meth.
Nah, I totally agree, Vague. Yeah, I was gonna say you touch him first, dude.
So I think, and this is ironic because I was talking to my brother about this today. I think with Meth, what kind of hurt that album is the hype on Method Man was ridiculous. Like, coming off that Woo album, like, it was like, even for myself, you just knew he was going to make a classic before you even heard it. And then you saw the album cover and you like, fucking album cover look crazy, right? With the smoke, and he's in it and you could barely see him. Then you hear and see the video for Bring the Pain, and you like, God damn, this is about to be nuts. And then when you listen to it, it's just like it didn't meet. Bring the Pain met that expectation. All the singles actually did, but it was all the other songs in between that just didn't capture or harness that energy of 36 Chambers and what we anticipated from Meth, and not necessarily lyrically or his performance. But it was like, you know, the beats, the vibe. You can tell now that you know some songs were lost as a result, some beats were lost, that it was a little disjointed in a lot of ways, right? So I think it couldn't meet the hype. I don't think anybody called it whack, but I think it was just disappointing to everybody.
So Tical only had 13 joints, if I'm not mistaken. 12 or 13. I know Method Man. I don't know if Method Man Remix was on the original pressing Tical, but I feel like if he would have went the Illmatic route and just gave like 10, I feel like it would have been a much stronger case to call it a classic, because he got a lot of joints that I fuck with. Release Your Death, PLO Style, Meth vs. Chef, What the Blood Clot, Mr. Sandman, that's my shit. Method Man remix, that's my shit. So I just think this is not top heavy. 13 joints is not top heavy, but I just think if a few of those joints was left off, I think he could have had a strong case, you know what I'm saying, for that joint to be a classic. But I just think it's too many, not too many songs. It's just, I don't know, it's just not enough. Like, I think it's more so what Vegas said. It's not enough. I don't think every one of those joints encompass what the fuck Meth was at that time. You know what I'm saying? He did his thing. They not trash by no means, but it's just like some of the motherfuckers is strong, and some of them is like, it's cool. I fucked it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
The other thing too, man, is that for, you know, especially my age, dog, like Vic said, the hype for Meth was so huge. He was the next one. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, when you're pegged, I mean, people may not even remember Def Jam did the whole Month of the Man. I know Gnu remember because he was there with me. The Month of the Man, it was Redman and Method Man, and it was this whole thing. And like Veg said, he had the, you know, the joint in his eye. He always had the half-fro done. Like Meth was just everything. The women loved him. The dudes loved him. Like this dude was pegged to be what Nas was. He was pegged to be what Biggie was. And it wasn't that. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's those expectations. Not that, like you said, it wasn't trash, but nigga, we thought you was gonna be. Think of all the people who they took before Steph Curry, you know, who ain't even in the league no more. You know, so to me, it was like one of those things where it was like, yo, this dude was supposed to be the next one. We were supposed to be talking the way we talk about Jay. When people say who the best rapper, Jay-Z, Biggie, or Nas, Meth was supposed to be in that conversation. You know what I mean? And he's not. You know, especially if you was my age and you was there when who was coming out and all that. Meth's name should have been there, and it's just not. And there's no knock on him. And you know, like you said, the flood and all of this hoopla. But what it is, and here's the hard part: even after the flood, Meth never came back and made that classic.
Right.
You know, so it's not like, oh yeah, Tical was bad, but the rest of the albums, you know, once RZA got his shit together, came out beautiful. It was like, we still never got that Meth classic. You know what I mean?
A lot of classic moments, a lot of classic verses, a lot of classic moments, but just never just hit the bullseye when it came to that album.
If you ever want to say who's the dopest rapper who's gonna give you a 16, Meth. I put Meth at number one, definitely in the top 5. You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely in the top 5 because Meth is, you know that. And
the verse on the what on Biggie's album, that put him on another level. For us, it was like, hold on, because Big, once Big dropped, it was like he was an explosion. That was an explosion, and I'm like you, God. Like at that time, I was still a babe. I was 11, 12 years old. I didn't fully understand who was who. I just went off the buzz, and I forgot who said this. Everyone in the '90s, whoever was hot, felt like they were supposed to be a star, whether it's Pun, Redman, Method Man. And nowadays it really isn't like that. They really manufacture because of social media and everything. But back then there was these, you know, the filters and the gatekeepers. I guess I don't know if we need them, but it did feel like, yo, Meth is, every time he jumped on the track, my lyrical makes, like everything he did. You talk about charisma,
voice,
he was
flow,
super charismatic. Yeah. So I totally agree with that. I'm surprised that he didn't turn out to have that classic album of a moment, but he definitely was, you know, top tier, and everyone else started choosing, you know, Ghostface and everyone. But because of the fact that he didn't live with Ghostface,
he's one of them dudes who just need a dope executive producer. And it's funny because RZA, you know, I'm about to say he need a dope executive producer, and it's RZA right there. But I don't know if it's because like Genius was like the intellectual nigga, you know what I mean, and Ray and Ghost was like the Project Hood niggas, you know what I mean. That those 3 albums and Dirty was the crazy niggas, so Brooklyn Zoo and Shimmy Shimmy Ya, you know what I mean? I don't know what Meth was. He was almost like how the Wu would say, like he was the sex symbol, and he never wanted to be the sex symbol of the Wu. You know what I mean? So I don't even know how you executive produce an album for Meth. Like, what am I gonna tell Meth to rap about? Like,
I think
you know
Meth was kind of like a mix of like ODB, Ghost, and like GZA, or maybe ODB Deck and like Ghost. That's how I look at Meth, you know what I'm saying? Because he has some technicality to his shit. Like he is a technical MC. He got so much style and just like his cadences. Like the shadowboxing shit, like I don't know if I ever heard that shit done like that. To be so calm and so monotone on the track but still kill that shit the way Meth killed shadowboxing. bro, that's crazy. And I can't remember. I'm pretty sure somebody got close or did it, but I can't remember or think off top somebody that was so calm, cool, and collected on a joint but still shredded the shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I think, and I heard him say in the interview he fought that whole girl shit. So I think Meth kind of was like going against himself, like kind of struggling to embody whatever the fuck he was gonna be from out the woo. And I think he just was in the moment and just did whatever the fuck he felt. You know what I'm saying?
That sounds. I like that. I like it because I'm trying to think who else fought through that. I think a bunch of guys did. Like Ja Rule eventually just went with it.
Just embraced it.
Yeah, and I think he had no choice to because it was like their name is Murder Inc. and this guy took on the name of a Gotti, but Ja Rule embraced it. What was that? 5 years later, 6 years later, and it's the same label, right? Def Jam. So, that's a great point, God.
Yeah. Fabian, who you got up for your joints, man? Who's your first one?
It's funny, yeah, because now you made me think of one, but. Who I was gonna go with was with Cameron. He was when he came out, Mace had just came out. So Mace had that platform with Bad Boy, and Biggie was there, Puff was there. Biggie passes away, but that's still the biggest platform there is, especially on the East Coast. And Puff being the next superstar up, but Mace he answers that question of being a superstar, like similar to Method Man. He doesn't have the classic album, but Cameron is like almost like the evil twin version of Mace. Because when we heard him, it was like, hold up. Remember, he went to DJ Clue on Hot 97 at nighttime after Flex took over. Clue used to come on Monday night mixtapes. And he brought Mace brought Cam and Cardan. Cardan's from Queens. I'm from Queens. So that was ill. So when we heard Cam, it was like, yo, who's this? So then, when Cam would rap, we became fans because of that mixtape era. It was Mace, it was Cam, it was the Locks, Canibus, DMX. That's who we look forward to listening to rap. So Cam used to kill everything. And when Confessions of Fire came out, I liked it. I really liked it. I almost called it a classic just because I was such a fan. But then when the second album came out, as DE was about to come out, there was a lot behind it. So, and then with Cameron back then, he was so experimental. Like, he was Eminem before Eminem, and they don't even, like, they might call Canibus Eminem before Eminem, but it was Cam. Like, the stuff he would rap about was crazy. The jokes he would have. So he fit our era. Think about it, all the songs that he would sample, Night Court, Monday Night Football, everything he would sample that was our backdrop. We recognized everything. He even sampled the Roxanne song that became What Means the World to You on SDE. So SDE was I was going to bring up because for us it felt like I was in school with Cameron. It felt like he was a peer as opposed to a Mace or a Biggie that seemed like larger than life. Cam seemed more like us. So SDE, another song, another one was like 21 songs, like you guys said. Every problem I had with that's what I was gonna say earlier. I thought of a 5 mic album as perfection, but really it's all right. If it's not gonna be perfect, what could it be? Like Illmatic isn't necessarily perfect, but it's the fact that it's 10 songs, like God just said. Thriller is 10 songs. It makes you want more. So SDE is too much. That's what's wrong with Pun's album, first album to me too. SD's 21 songs. There was a bootleg to it when he said, I told her like Mike to Billie Jean, you are not my lover, pop the rubber. Like everything he was saying on the mixtape was so dope, and we were anticipating it. When SDE came out, I thought it was a classic. I love it. To this day, I was listening to it the last 2 days, and he got a bunch of joints on there. The Double Up song is crazy. It's a joint with the Philly dudes. With
not Philly's Most Wanted.
No, not Philly's Most Wanted.
Dustin Spade or something.
Yes. That he killed that. That's a classic to me. And the joint of Prodigy is a classic. Yeah. Like Losing Weight. That's classic. And there was so many moments that was dope. And he was really, again, he was experimental. And it's the last time we seen Cam like that. Because after he went to Rockefeller, he played Alpo and Paid in Full. And I think for him, Alpo and Paid in Full was like Bishop to Tupac. Like once he found that image to sell, he ran with it. And I ain't mad at him. Do what you gotta do, because like I said, Mace was larger than life, so Cam became larger than life after that. But SDE was last.
Hold tight for a second. Tell me this, because I was never a big Cam dude. Like I like, Horse and Carriage, and I like the What Means the World to You. I didn't really start fucking with Cam until he got with the Rock. So there's a pre and post Cam, like.
Yep, absolutely. It's kind of like how Big was the grimy fat nigga with the bandana and a big ass shades, and then Puff molded him into the almost Heavy D-esque rest in peace type dude. You know what I'm saying? Cam was like the grimy, like how Fabian just said. He was rapping about like raping girls and shit like that on some other shit like before Slim. You know what I'm saying? His content was just like wow. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he was the grimy, gritty Cam, and after Paid in Full, it's like he was this Harlem Don. You know what I'm saying? A fly, flashy nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like two different Cams as far as Dipset Cam and like SDE Confessions of Fire Cam. Two totally different Cams.
No idea.
And SDE, it felt like shout out to Digger Branch, who I don't know these people. You guys would know more about this, but Digger produced damn near the whole album, it looks like. And I'd say if it was 10, 12 songs like you guys keep saying, I think this is gonna be the theme for every album that we're gonna mention tonight. If it was, it would be like a certified classic, because Cam raps. Like there is no joke. He's got punchlines. Oh yeah, SDE. Listen to the Dutch and Spade song. They went in. Dutch and Spade go back and forth, and you can tell Cameron heard them was like, nah, you're not getting me on my album. Very competitive.
He addressed that shit in an interview. I can't remember. No, I can't remember which one is which. The light skinned cat, ain't that Dutch?
On Math Hoffa.
Yeah, he addressed it on the Math Hoffa, my expert opinion shit about how Cam was like already over there, settled at Undies, and they was like the new niggas. We was like, I'm not finna, hey, cool, but I'm not finna let these new niggas come in here and kill me on my shit. So he was like, Cam just blacked out on that shit.
And like I said, it was like he was like an evil twin to Mace, because that's what I forgot to mention. Like when he came out, like you say, he's on Undies, that's Biggie's label. So imagine the superstar died, and there is no it's like a dark platform. Your whole stage has got dark, but Mace had the bright lights, and he answered the bell. But Cam, he went through a lot more, and he went through that turmoil that really told him by the time he got to Rockefeller, and that's what kind of created the beef. From what he was saying, like, I already knew how to run a label. I knew what department was supposed to do what, because I already knew how they fucked me over at Epic. So just his story is dope, and how he was able to commercialize everything. And like God just said, it's a totally different image that he has. Back then it felt like he was so personable, like you could totally relate to Cameron back then. Even in his interviews, it's hilarious. He was way funnier back then.
All right, I gotta check with Vake. You have something to say?
No, I was gonna agree with Fabian, man. Like, Confessions of Fire Cam is a Cam that people do not talk about, but there's a lot of shock rap type shit in there, a lot. And SDE is my favorite Cam album, because I agree, it is too many records, but I think I liked it because it was so experimental. Like, he gave you all these different looks, he gave you all these different flows, he's rhyming with all these different MCs, and he's rapping, right? None of that, computers putin' shit that he did later.
No.
That he did later.
Computer shooting,
right? So.
No, it's amazing how he went from that to just totally, when Lupe said dumb it down, that is the definition of it, because Cameron used to rap. He didn't waste a bar.
Right.
I got it. All right. Y'all got me ready to listen to SDE tonight. Canoe, what you got for your first joint, bro?
Yeah, so the other day when you hit me about the topic for the show, the first artist that came to mind was Young Z and the Outsiders. I always rock with Young Z. Back in the in the 90s, they were on the Fuji joint. They were on the Redman cut. They was like making noise in the 90s, but I feel like overall as a group, even though they was doing their thing, they just never really put out. They put out 2 albums, The Bricks and Nightlife, but they never really put out like a real classic. You know what I'm saying? That really hit the streets. You know what I'm saying? With them, being from Jersey, I mean, they connected to everybody. Redman, the Fugees, the Artifacts. Yeah. But I think what killed them, I actually, Young Z was on my podcast a couple of years ago, but what killed them, I think, was the fact that there was so many members and they were so wild. I think they got into like a lot of fights and like a lot of ruckus and shit like that, and I think that that's what kind of fucked them up on the industry side of things, because I think he said they got into some kind of fight and they got dropped from the label because of that at some kind of party. But They were just wild niggas from North, man. But like I said, I really wish they would have formed a group. If they would, I really feel like if they would have focused on just having Young Z, Pace One, and Rod Digger, with just the three of them in a group, and have maybe just them be called the Outsiders, I think they would have been better off, man. But I feel like with it being so many of them, they just weren't able to pull off a real classic, man. But I think that they all equally nice. That everybody in the group is nice. They lyrically sharp. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Funny Young Z story. They had Young Z had a whole album out.
Yeah.
But it got shelved. I think it's called Musical Massacre. No,
With You Don't Want No Problems, that joint.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was my shit.
Yeah.
No problem. Sample that special air from Crooklyn's You Don't Want No Problems, B.
No
Problems
B.
hard. You know Roots from 889. My OG.
Okay.
Roots.
Yeah.
Did a joint from Bezo from Writer's Bench fame. Here's a crazy story. They do a track for Young Z. It's called Stay Gold. They sampled the Stevie Wonder Stay Gold, and it was featuring Lauryn Hill at the time when Lauryn Hill was the hottest thing on the fucking planet. It was smoking.
Right.
My man Shadi, Luke Mine, and Bezo do the beat. And then they called me one night like, yo, Stevie don't want to clear the sample because of Young Z, all the cursing. Yo, your mom's a musician. You think she can come to New York? I'm like, nigga, my mom's a fucking school teacher. She coming to fucking New York. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it was crazy because and then Columbia pulled Lauren off. Like, nah, you're too big to be on this joint with them or whatever. You know what I mean? And then like it just fell apart. Like it was such a moment for them because you know for Bezo and Shy, these are niggas who taught me how to make beats. Like we all like, yo, this is the time, bro, when this shit drop with Lauren, it's gonna be crazy. And then to just see the whole shit just fall apart from Stevie saying no to the label saying no to Lauren to then the label just going under. It was just like, yo, it's like you got that winning lottery ticket, you waiting for that last number to get called. And it just all fell apart, man. It's just crazy how people don't understand how much music we missed out because of industry bullshit like that. Right. You know what I mean? Like, Guru took all this radio people out once and he was like, yo, it's fucked up that Premier can go out and produce for anybody he wants, but I gotta get permission from my label to do any fucking thing. And when you think about that, it's like, fuck, you right. Like, you gotta get permission from your label to do anything. Like you really, I always equate being on a major label to living at home with your parents. Shit, it really fucking is because you can't even, Vegas can't even get on guys out without going to somebody at Columbia saying like, yo, is it cool? You know what I mean? For me to go hang out over my man's house, like you like a kid again. Like, yo, can I go spend the night at my man's house, mom? Like, nah, oh, fuck, I can't be on your album. Like, when you think about that, how crazy is that you got to get permission? Veg, what you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna piggyback over what you're saying. I think what makes it worse is that a lot of these artists recorded with each other, and some of that
they fuck with each other. Like Young Z was on they was on the score. Like yo, now you too big to return the favor. Like oh man, it's crazy. I never thought about it until Guru said that, but it's like yo, that adds more animosity to the group. Because it's like Primo over here getting this money, you know, but I can't get this money if my label don't say yes to me, which is so insane. I don't even understand how you got to get permission and that your label could actually tell you, no, you can't do this. You know what I mean? Like you said, Gnu, that's Lauren and them crew. You basically telling me I can't get on my crew's album to help my stardom push them forward too. Just no. And you can't do shit because you signed that paper. It's like that's crazy to me. But
so that was
Young Z and
like
Outside definitely a different pull.
That was like 95.
That was like 90s. That was like 95, 96. Because like I said, Lauren was, and for people who want to hear it, go to YouTube, put in Young Z Stay Gold. You can hear the track. It's a dope track. Young Z kills it. Lauren kills it. You know what I mean? But yeah, the label the whole track just fell apart.
Oh, so they did leak it, or was it a single?
Yeah, I mean it was gonna be Young Z's next single. His first single was the joint Problems. Then they was gonna come back with this joint featuring Lauryn Hill. Lauren is singing the hook, so you know that's crazy. Young got a verse, Lauren got a verse, you know that shit crazy. So it's just like, yo, it was like niggas was just like, yo, niggas about to win. We about to see the team win. And then it just all fell the fuck apart, man.
It's just so interesting how I think 96 is the year that rap took a different notch up commercializing the genre.
Yeah.
And I think Def Jam got sold the next year, and just so much money was around that the way they were promoting everything was like a movie budget. So it felt like, we're not gonna let you be on this B-list movie or this B movie because it's gonna ruin your image.
That's exactly what it was. Denzel, you can't be in your man's fucking Harlem movie. You know, you can't be in the new Dame Dash movie, Denzel. Like, you too big for that. Whereas an actor, you could just be like, yo, I'm doing whatever the fuck I want to do. I'm a free agent. Denzel's not signed to nobody. He can do what he wants. Whereas these artists are signed to the label. So again, it's just like living at home with your moms. Can I go over my man God's house? No. Fuck. Now all you can do is be pissed at your mom. That's all you can do is be pissed. You can't do nothing else because you can't go. I can't spend the night. You know what I mean? Now you gotta tell your boys I can't spend the night, man. I can't come to the studio tonight. I know I was the ride. Now everybody mad at you. Because I'm sure Young Zenom was pissed. Like, what the fuck you mean you can't be on the album? Like, yo, we need you. Right. So I mean, it's just, again, industry politics, man. Just crazy shit. Next person I got up is Talib Kweli, man. I was I made a best of Talib mixtape, and I love the fuck out this mixtape. Like, love it. But it's just because it's all the best songs he got. You know what I mean? Like, it's just grabbing chunks of songs from every album and putting them all together. And I'm not including Reflection Eternal, because I do believe that Reflection Eternal album is a 5 Mic classic. I'm just talking about his solo stuff that he put out. The album that's my favorite is probably Quality. And I just feel like it kind of was a little bit all over the place. The first song, Rush, that sets the album off, don't really do it for me. The gun music with Cocoa Brothers, the beat wasn't there. He actually got a slow jam on there called Talk to You with Bilal. I'm like, yo, this nigga's really trying to rhyme over a slow jam. Like, it just never connected. You know what I mean? And it's funny because I read his book. If you fuck with Talib a little bit, the book is dope. Like, I've wondered about Black Star. I've wondered about Reflection. I wondered what happened with Roc. If you've ever wondered those things, read his book. It's a great read. But he kind of was talking about after Get By, Roc has really kept wanting that radio record. And again, he's like, I didn't make Get By to be the hit that it was. It just so happened to do that. And now that label, even though Roc is an indie label, once they started seeing them radio plays and that radio money, then it was like, we want more of that shit. You know, and I just felt like he was always trying to get, you know, like, you look at a Talib album, it may be featuring Mary, it may be featuring John Legend, like, you know what I mean? And he talks about in the book of trying to ride that cusp of being above ground rapper, but then still being an underground rapper. And I didn't even realize it until I read the book that I'm like, damn, yeah, you're right. He always did have them big singles or these big names, but so yeah, just a dope book. But Talib to me is just that. And I would probably say sometimes the production, like, you know, when he was with High Tech, with Reflection Eternal, you know, like, it was there. And I think kind of leaving him, it kind of was like trying to find the right producers, trying to find the right fit. I feel with Quality, he got a young Kanye who was just hungry with the Get By and the Gorilla Monsoon rap and those joints like that. But yeah, so for me, it's just really the production, because Talib, you're gonna get what you get from Talib. Like, I don't think I've ever heard Talib come whack. Talib is like Chick-fil-A fries. They gonna be the same every fucking time. Either you like them, either you like these waffle fries, or you don't, because he's never gonna be whack or come whack. It's just the production. So for me, it's just, I just think he's always trying to find the right producer to fit with. And it's like, I just wish I wish he'd do a Hit-Boy and Nas, like, really just find that right person who just fits your style and just rock out with them, you know. And he had that with Tech, but, you know, they had their issues, which is dope. You hear about in the book of just Tech, he would say, like, would make a beat, and then if Tech didn't like it, he'd be like, nah, fuck that, you can't rhyme with it. And he'd be like, I already wrote the whole rhyme to it, nigga. Like, and that caused a lot of tension and stuff like that. So, very dope book. It's called Vibrate Higher. If you're a Talib fan, I think you'll fuck with it. Vay, who's another person you got, bro?
Well, since we like heavy on the hip hop side, I'm gonna just keep it hip hop. I got Eminem. I feel like as a person who like took a chance on a Slim Shady LP, like just on the bus riding back to Morgan just to see, like, you know, let me see what the fuss is about. and kind of being pleasantly surprised and liking that album, I would check for him every time. And I love the Marshall Mathers LP is probably my favorite because I feel like the Slim Shady LP is like, and I'm not saying it's, a classic or anything like that, but it's probably like Eminem's Illmatic, right? His start. And then Marshall Mathers LP is like it was written, right? Like you could tell they're a little bit richer. He's a little bit more skilled at what he does. And he's a little bit more crazy with the bars, right? Because the Bonnie and Clyde shit was always a dope story to me, right? Even though it was like who thinks of that, right? Like, hey, your mother's in the trunk. It's just the way he's talking to his daughter. I just thought it was a dope song to put together. And then, Marshall Mathers LP just takes it almost too far where you're like, oh shit, what is this? But I feel like with M, I think his curse was the fact that the crazy shit is what got the most attention, and the goofy shit is what got the most attention. So Guilty Conscience was a dope record, but you could tell they wanted more of that guy than they wanted the guy that's in ciphers and battling people off the top and shit like that. So he gave him more of that. And I remember on the Marshall Mathers LP, like, how you listen to an album and you like a couple of songs here and there, and you see, I see Bitch Please too, and I'm like, on Eminem's album? Like, cause I love the first shit with Snoop and Exhibit, but I think Eminem got the best verse on this shit because it was just what he was saying where I was like, damn, he just needs to do more of that. Like that's the M that heads like. It's just that he has to fill his albums with these goofy shits, and I feel like that's his problem, right? He's never gonna have a classic in the eyes of hip hop heads all around because you gotta listen to all this other shit to get to the one joint like a Stand that you're like, yo, this is incredible. Or Till I Collapse, where you like, yo, I like this shit. You got to get through all this other shit to get there, and we all, co-sign him as being dope at what he does. But to me, he don't have classics. He may have a favorite album I like, a couple of songs I like, but nothing I can say that's a classic. Even though I know there are probably people who feel like, the Eminem Show or whatever is a classic, but I would disagree.
It's almost like the Macaulay Culkin effect. It's like he never really got a chance to grow up and like grow into like an adult act. And I feel like it's the same with M. Like M did that Slim Shady shit so perfect, you know what I'm saying? Like so good. When he tried to grow up and sober up and shit like that, it was like, the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? And it just didn't hit the same. Like he was so great at that Slim Shady. You know what I'm saying? It's like when he tried to put Marshall Mathers in the mix and kind of X out Slim Shady, it was like, for me, I didn't want to hear a mid 30 or 40-year-old M still on the Slim Shady shit. So I was looking forward to him growing up. I was looking forward to Recovery actually, but then when I heard it, I'm like, I don't really like M sounding like this. So it was. I just don't think his content allowed him to outgrow, you know what I'm saying, and become a more mature artist, which he did, but I don't think it was accepted by a lot of the people who was riding with him at first. It's kind of like 50. Like 50 came out and like it's like 50 came out at the top. I mean, I'm not counting Power of the Dollar. I'm talking about like when the world knew who he was. Like Get Rich or Die Trying. It's like you can't do that gangster shit no better than what 50 did it for, you know what I'm saying, Get Rich and The Massacre. So it's like, where do you go from there? Down. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it was a crazy meteoric explosion, you know what I'm saying, of a debut. And it's like, you kind of felt it really ain't nowhere to go but down from here. I think him aligning with G Unit gave his career, well, not career, but gave him extra life in the light, you know what I'm saying? Because that shit was a crazy merger. You already with Drake, now you add 50, which is the hottest shit out right now. I think that shit prolonged, you know what I'm saying, his reign. But it's like after that shit died, it was like, what's left? You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because I've never been a big M fan, but I always hear people say when M sobered up, he got whacker. When Roy sobered up, he got better. You know what I mean? So I don't know if
I kind of agree with that. I was never a big Royce fan, but what I did when I was playing about Eminem is like just like with Mace, I said before, he answered the question because there was a lot of pressure on him after the My Name Is, and to me, where he really peaked on what's the soundtrack to his movie, the 8 Mile soundtrack.
Yeah.
That the way he was rhyming,
really fuck with it. I really love it.
Hey, 8 Mile Road, like all his like solo shit on there is crazy. Like, because that was the best version of like M not being Slim Shady. That was like to me, him on that 8 Mile Road soundtrack, that was the best M minus Slim Shady. And I don't think he,
because almost like he's playing the character out. It's almost like he's that character. It's like I'm playing the
but it was him.
Yeah,
right. But it was him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Lose Yourself was like, because the way he rapped, and it's just, for me, I don't know how to explain it, but when you have that many eyes on you, and it's just like being clutch in sports. He came through, and it was in the clutch right before G Unit, but I didn't put that together until you guys just said put it together for me. When he was in that character, that stupid caricature, it ruined him. It was like you said, it became how you say, like an actor, not a method actor, but they get lost in that role. Like we can only see Steve Urkel as Steve Urkel. So with Eminem being able to just talk about his life and autobiographical style on Lose Yourself, I didn't put it together until you put it together for me. That makes perfect sense.
What was the first single of the second album? Was that the one, Who's the Real Slim Shady? And he had all them white boys with the blonde hair, like at the MTV Awards. So I see what you're saying. Like, it's just, he's this character again. Here comes the first single from that for the second album is, you know, like you said, the goofy shit. I got 40 white boys all dressed up like me. Because that song when he's talking about with I'm Marshall Mathers, when he's talking about you guys are copying Big and Pac too much, like you switch wallets, he kills that. He rips that like on Slim, like that's the second album is Marshall Mathers LP, right? Yeah. He's getting off on that. And again, he's not this stupid character. So I never thought about that until you guys just put it together for me. I keep smart people on here, Fabian. You say I'm learning all night. I don't know half this shit myself. God, who you got up next for you, man?
Another big dog, man. I'm gonna have to go with my guy, man, Kiss. Jada is one of the hardest, you know what I'm saying, one of the best lyricists I ever heard in my life. Like at that point in time, I was a shorty, you know what I'm saying, when Kiss really blew. I was aware of the lots. Money, Power, Respect was my shit. But I didn't really hear All for the Love until like 2000. And that shit was 98. That was actually on Money, Power, Respect. I didn't hear All for the Love until like 2000. And when I heard that, I'm like, oh, the bald head nigga is crazy. Like this nigga. Because I didn't really fuck with If You Think I'm Jiggy. And I was fucking with Bad Boy during the Biggie era. Like that whole shiny suit shit, Mace. I was fucking with them. But I didn't really like the Lox. I thought they was going to be a B-side group and they wasn't going to go nowhere. My young mind at that time, I'm 12 in 98. I really couldn't understand what it was that they was talking about. I ain't even like you at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love you. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, it was like my mind was in a different place. I was too young to understand certain shit that was being kicked. But it's like when I heard All for the Love, and then that shit led me to the Lox freestyles, and then, you know what I'm saying? His buzz was crazy. That's when I was outside. For the Jadakiss Kiss the Game Goodbye buzz, like I can remember the last song that I remember before that drop was a Lox song off the Rough Riders compilation. I think it was volume 2, and it was Go Ahead. That nigga said, I'ma deal with my enemies sooner, because I got him looking for my solo album like Kennedy Jr. And I'm like, oh my God, like this nigga is finna go crazy. And Kiss the Gang Goodbye was dope. I liked it, but it was like the meth effect, you know what I'm saying? It didn't live up to the buzz and to the hype, you know what I'm saying? And I think my favorite Kiss album is Kiss to Death. I think he came close to making a classic with that, but it just fell just a little bit short. I feel like that's his most complete, well-rounded album. That like Kiss to Death for Jada is like Me Against the World for Tupac, you know what I'm saying? That was the most complete, well-rounded shit for me. For Kiss, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like after that, it was too many South joints, you know what I'm saying? Nothing against that, but I ain't really care for Kiss on that shit. Like some of the South shit he was killing. You know what I'm saying? Like some of his joints with Lil Jon and them, like his Bone Crusher, I Ain't Never Scared remix verse, he was killing them shits. But like, I ain't really care for like the OJ the Juice Man joint, Who's Real. Like some of them joints, it was like, and I think he was trying to ride that commercial wave too hard. And I ain't necessarily saying be an underground artist, but I just think his commercial attempts, I ain't really fuck with a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? Why that was a big joint. But yeah, like Kiss, another one of them Method Man type motherfuckers. So where like you talk about moments in a verse, like actually the verses, you know what I'm saying, it just happened. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of fucking classic moments, a lot of classic ass verses, just really couldn't quite put it together for that album though.
I feel it's a very fine line, like between being a commercial rapper and being an underground rapper. Like for me, like I love underground rappers, and once I love an artist, if everybody starts to like him and starts to listen to him, then I'm like, no, I can't fuck with him no more. Too many people know his shit. But you want your favorite artist to be successful. You want him to reach a certain level, but then I just don't want them to get like too much fame and too much like all of that, you know what I'm saying? Because it didn't, like, I don't know, now I can't fuck with them no more. But that's like a very hard thing for rappers to do, man. To stay underground and still be commercial and be, you know what I'm saying, be out there like that too. It's hard, man.
In New York, probably big at Jay-Z at a certain point. Jada had a chance. I thought Mace was tightroping that for a second, but not too many people could do that. Like even Nas struggled with the commercial side of that. But again, that Method Man comparison was ill. That was dope because I was disappointed in Kiss the Game Goodbye. That's his first album, Kiss the Game Goodbye. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was disappointed in that because I think it was exactly what you said, God. It was Kiss at that time was top tier. He was most anticipated. Jay was hating on him. Jay-Z was hating on him left and right everywhere he went. And we felt it and we saw it. And when he threw Beans at him, first of all, that's when I started respecting Beans. Because I didn't really, I thought he was alright. But I think personally, and everyone disagrees with me, that Beanie won that battle by himself. I think he got the best verses out of the when they went back and forth. I was so impressed. Like, he killed Kiss. I was so impressed by it. But all those things led to, like, again, whether you lose or you win, the hype is there. And I don't know if, like, I love Knock Yourself Out, okay, but he didn't have that Lose Yourself. And even Method Man answered with the You're All I Need. He had the Bring the Pain. He had those singles that were monsters, classic. I don't know if Jadakiss's singles were necessarily that on the commercial side. So I never.
He kind of made up for it on the second joint, Kiss of Death. That's why I like Kiss of Death so much, because it was a more mature Kiss. He got more personable. He told you about more of his life. And I ain't saying that's the instant key to making a classic, but I just think that's his best, most well-rounded effort. You know what I'm saying? As far as a solo artist, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a couple joints I could do without off there, you know what I'm saying? And it's a lot that I really fuck with. I just feel like for whatever reason, like it just always fell short, you know what I'm saying, for that project for me. Like, now as a shorty, I love Kiss the Game Goodbye, but as I got older and I'm able to analyze shit and break shit down, I'm like, yeah, this was raw for me being 14, 15 at the time. It was dope as hell for me being that age, but like, you know what I'm saying, now that I'm older, it's kind of like, it was dope. It was dope. It wasn't as hard as what I thought it was back then, but it was dope. But Kiss the Game is just his most well-rounded effort. Like, I fuck with that.
I had Kiss on mine too. Mine was Kiss the Game Goodbye. I think the thing with Kiss, and I never got it, it seemed like labels was trying to sign the most hoodest rappers and make them make radio songs.
Go commercial.
Which I didn't get, because that's Cassidy, that's Fab, that's Kiss. So you're getting these three dudes, because I remember, my niggas from Brooklyn telling me about Fab Sport. Like, yo, nigga, Fab Sport crazy. Then I hear the da-da-da-da on Superwoman. I'm like, this nigga? You know what I mean? I'm telling everybody about Cassidy. Then Hotel come out. My niggas like, this nigga? Like, it was this nigga moment of like, this the nigga who ripping Clue tapes? This nigga stuttering and stuff. Right. So it's something like, I don't know why these labels were signing these underground assassins. And then being like, go make Hotel. Go make It's No Better with Mashonda. Like, nigga, like again, it's that living, the record label being like living with your moms. It's like if you live with your parents, it's like, yo, I'm an artistic kid, but your parents trying to make you go get a job type thing. You know, like my moms would have been like, if I came home after college, she would have been like, yo, just do your music. Don't worry about no rent, just do your music. Like, that's a dope independent label. You know what I mean? Then you got some other parents like, no, I'm the major label, nigga. I want $400. I want all the rent. You paying half my mortgage, nigga. So it's like, shit, I got to get out here and try and do this job I don't want to do, but I can't focus on what I do want to do. So I feel like it's like Kiss trying to make these radio songs. And then again, I get it because niggas got to eat. Like, that's the thing at the end of the day that I do understand from this game now, being older and having a kid about to go to college. Niggas gotta eat. When it was fucking 96 and I'm 22, it's like, oh, Nas, why you get with the track master? This nigga's trying to eat. He's trying to get the fuck out the projects. You know, in my mind, I'm like, Havoc, no matter how much loot I get, I'm staying in the projects forever. Like, niggas like, no, I want a nice car. I want to get out the projects. Like, you know what I mean? And to get out the projects in this business means I gotta sell records. So I'm gonna have to keep throwing shit and seeing what sticks on the wall. You know, like you said, Why was a big joint, but it wasn't a smash. You know what I mean? It wasn't no smash. So again, I just think with Kiss is just like trying to get that, you know, it's almost like trying to get that big check instead of trying to maybe be more patient and get the long money. Like maybe like a Styles P. Like Styles P stays in his lane, makes these incredible albums. You know, I ain't in nobody's pocket. You know, I'm sure he's okay. You know what I mean? Instead of going for this home run hit over here to be on the world tour to kind of like max out all the money, especially when maybe you just can't do it. Everybody can't do it. You know, everybody who can't play offense and defense like that. Everybody can't be Kobe. Everybody's not going to be all defensive team and top scorer in the league. Everybody's not going to be able to do it. Only a few can. Only a few have been able to ride that thin line of being able to be above and underground at the same time. You know, like you said, Big's formula was there. It took Jay a while to learn how to do that shit. It took Nas a minute to learn how to do that shit. Not everybody can do it. And I think that just may be Kiss's thing. And I really thought that this last album was going to be the album we was going to get. He's not on no label. Nobody's in his ear. I'm like, fuck, we still got John Legend. We still got, you know, fucking all these other people like dog. Like, and then at this point, I'm just like, yo, maybe this is just what you want to make, my nigga. Like, for years, I was like, what'd you say?
No, I said Ignatius. That's the album you talking about?
Yeah, and then somebody told me that his man died, but his man, he got with the people that his man liked, so that's the reason why the album sound like that. So again, I don't know. For all these years, I was like blaming the label. Now you ain't got a label. Maybe it's just you, my nigga. Maybe that's what you want to make. You know, and if that's cool, that's cool. But you may end your career without a classic album. It's just, you know, it's a bad part to the story. Fabian, who you got up next, bro?
You guys made me think of these. First of all, I'm glad you brought up Jadakiss's. I think he really influenced the Cassidys and even Lloyd Banks, as I mentioned. Like that whole flow, smack, we call like a smack flow. They really all sounded like at a certain point, and it was really redundant. But I think Jadakiss did start that. I don't know if Liquid Swords is considered a classic or Five Mics.
That's definitely considered Five Mic classic.
Is it? Because for me, a lot of people like, nah, it's not. Oh, is it? Okay.
No, very well so. That bro, half the conversation on Twitter every day is what's better. Only built for Cuban Links or Liquid Sword. But I mean, again, you're younger, bro, and if it didn't speak to you like that, no doubt, speak on it, bro.
No, I thought it was. I thought it was a classic when it came out. Okay. Yeah, they had radio records. So, all right, then that's off the table. I was gonna fight for it. But I was always impressed by it because, again, it was the total opposite when you guys talked about Method Man just now. I don't know if there was as much pressure on him to answer, but it was just, I remember liking almost every song and going like, damn, I can't believe this album is over. And
you know what? Hold that for 1 second, Fabian. How much do y'all think that pressure, because something you just said made me think, and y'all help me remember because I'm old.
Immeasurable.
What'd you say?
Immeasurable. It plays a big part. I think.
Right, because I'm sitting here thinking, were we holding like Gnu? Do you remember? Were we holding Ray and Ghost? I don't remember being like, this Ray album is gonna be this, or this Ghost album is gonna be this, or this Jizz album is gonna be this. Well, I mean, again, but you're younger, right? But I'm just saying from the top standpoint of being there, like with the Woo, Meth was up here.
Like
And I,
that
it, no,
feature
at
level.
that time, I don't feel like it was like in the rest of them, like they ain't dope. But I just don't remember if there was that hype for Cuban Links and Ray. I remember being like, Ghost gonna be on this album? Like, okay, I guess so. And kind of being surprised by Ghost being so dope, which then raised the bar for Iron Man. But was that how it was, Gnu and Vague? I can't remember.
I don't know. I just remember being excited to hear the projects as they were coming out. Like I was just anticipating everybody dropping their shit, you know, the way they said they were.
I can remember being around my cousins at that time, and I remember, even if it was vaguely, I remember Method Man being like a hot fucking topic when he came out. I remember like motherfuckers talking about Method Man and me just hearing the name at so young of an age, Method Man all the time. So even though I wasn't outside musically like that yet, I feel like Method Man had, like you said earlier, he had so much pressure, and he might have folded a little bit under that pressure, to whereas a Jizza, a Ray, and a Ghost, they didn't have that pressure.
Yeah, they kind of just like slid in
and craft and comfort. You know what I'm saying? They got the they got the craft they shit in comfort, a level of comfort that I don't think Meth was really had the privilege of having. You know what I'm saying? Because all that pressure and that spotlight, the expectation of it, is like you're supposed to be that one, like you said. He's supposed to be in the conversation. So when you got motherfuckers that's like coming up from the basement and they dope, and motherfuckers is talking about them, but the buzz is not like that, that's a level of comfort that's priceless. You know what I'm saying? When you talking about creating, you it's basically a safe space. You know what I'm saying? Like when you highly tout it like that, you gotta be like your mental strength gotta be like up there to really deliver under that type of shit.
It's almost like going to the movies. Like when I see a Jordan Peele movie, the expectations are up here. I'm like, this shit better knock it out the fucking park. But then like I just saw this movie Barbarian, which is a very dope movie. If y'all ain't seen Barbarian, check that shit out. But I was like, yo, this shit is really dope. But I just watched it on the humble. You know what I mean? There was no expectations going into it. So I'm just like, me and T just watching the movie. It's like, oh shit. Like, so I'm sorry, Fabian. That was a great point of what you were saying about Jizza. Just that, because I remember being like, yo, I can't wait to hear Jizza, but it wasn't like the meth. Like you were saying, I said earlier, guy, like it wasn't from the standpoint of Jizza's name should be with who's the best MC, Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas. Meth's name was supposed to be there. I don't know anybody putting Genius's name as, you know, this dude is gonna be the next one up. So I'm sorry, Fabian. that was a great point you made. So
no, I think that is the point for like you know, the superstars that answer the bell, like we talked about. Jadakiss didn't, and Raekwon and Ghostface didn't have. I don't think they had the Method Man anticipation either, but there was that street buzz because when we were, I think the lunchroom table is everything in school, or the, you know, if you're in front of the store. Once you start talking about certain, like once Cream came out, Raekwon was that dude. And then for Ghostface, for me personally and my cousins, when we were watching Video Music Box, when he didn't show his face on music on the chess boxing, Mystery of the Chess Boxing, that to me is the best intro in like music history. You didn't see his guy's face, and we were just like, yo, his name is Ghostface and his face is missing. This is crazy. So when we heard him, it was like, all right, his album is anticipated. Now he's on the Purple Tape. The Purple Tape brought that's the legend. That's the legendary tape from any album. So Inspector Deck didn't have any of this post buzz, pre buzz, none of this. But it was still like, yo, I think that's my favorite album. And I didn't realize it was a debate to this day. I'm glad that it is. And maybe I don't know if I could go on to the next one after you made me think of it. But
No. Do your next one.
It was gonna be Beanie Siegel's The Becoming. That was, it had my bread and butter on it. The bread and butter, yeah. That album to me, because like I said, after to me when he was battling with the Locks, he was going through the court case and everything. Beanie Sigel is a better artist than any one of the Locks, and that was shocking to me. When I heard The Becoming, the way he was able to talk about his relationship problems, and then getting deep with the, you know, Feel It in the Air. And there's so many songs on the album. I don't know, maybe it's not a classic. Couple songs short,
me, but I don't know.
If
I
love it.
I don't know if it's a worldwide classic, but
right.
I definitely think this is Bean's easily his dopest album, Find My Classic. And he got Jay-Z on here on this song.
Yes.
I think Beans got Jay-Z a couple of times.
It's on.
Yeah,
That shit got too many joints, bro. Like too many joints.
Yeah, but again, I don't think it's a worldwide classic. It's just personal to me though.
That was always my favorite Beanie album. I was anticipating it because of after the battle and everything, and I just realized like, oh nah, he's nice, way nicer than what I thought. Because once it's like when Lil Wayne, when his buzz was happening and he was rising up with the mixtapes, my next thing was, okay, the next rapper he gets on, whoever he features with, whoever he features, whether it's Jay-Z, whoever the next guy is, he better kill them. Because if he doesn't, he ain't that guy to me. And I don't feel like he killed Jay-Z. I don't feel like he went step to step with him on a Mr. Carter song. I don't think he did. But Beanie always went back and forth with Jay. So he always had that respect lyrically. And then the Be Coming was just, for me, it was a personal classic. And I love that album.
Yeah. I feel you too. Good news. Who you got up next, bro?
All right, so another cat that I feel he's put in a lot of work on the underground circuit. I think I can't even really remember where I first heard this guy, man, but Planet Asia. He's I think he's super nice. And as I'm looking at his catalog here on Apple Music, he got stuff dating back to 2002 all the way to 2020, all the way up to
Do-Rag Dynasty. Yeah, Do-Rag Dynasty.
Yeah, that was with Alchemist. He's worked with like the best producers. He's done like the dopest features. He's got a lot of work out there, but I still feel like Homeboy has no classic. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, he got a fan base. Like somebody listening to his shit because he's mad. He got mad. He put out records every 6 months. I think. Like I said, he got mad work out there. But for some reason, I don't know, man. He just not out there like that. You know what I'm saying?
I've always heard his name. I mean, I think I've heard joints here and there, but it was never. I say rappers like that are like if you and your girl ever go out to dinner and the food ain't bad, but you just never go back to that restaurant again. Like the food isn't bad, but you almost ask yourself like, yo, why don't we go to this diner no more? Like, didn't we like it? Oh, it was cool, but it never is like, yo, let's go to the diner tonight. It's like one of them spots. It's not bad. It was just good enough, but not good enough to keep going back to over and over again like that. Because I hear the name all the time. I was talking to Ev about. We're talking about interviewing MCs for this piece he's doing, and like the first West Coast MC he said out of everybody was Planet Asia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so like you said, the name rings bells, but I don't know what it is.
Shout out Medallions, man. I had a chance to politic with him for a little bit. Went out to LA this past summer with the homie Vic Spencer. So shout out Medallions. You know what I'm saying? He definitely put in that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's a West Coast dude, and for me, when I listen to him, it's like a combination of like Ray and Ghost. He's like a low head.
Absolutely.
He's like always, you know, talking like that strawberry kiwi type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I fuck with him. Like that's how, you know, those is his bars. That's why I fuck with Planet Asia, man. But I feel like I don't know, man. He got mad shit out there, man. But nobody really knows. Really, his name is not spoken like that out there. You know what I mean? He's not heralded as like a top 5 guy. But I never heard a whack verse from him. Never heard a whack song. You know what I mean?
You know the crazy thing being, I got it written big across the top. Don't make incredible songs. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like, and again, I don't mean like here and there. It's almost like, y'all know I got an analogy for everything. It's like Thanksgiving dinner. When grandma can make the entire Thanksgiving dinner. You know what I mean? It's something special about that shit. I don't need, no, Niecy, you stay over there. I don't need your mac and cheese. No, you stay over there with your coleslaw. Like, I got this. Most people come with a dish. They come in with, you know, something like that. And it takes a very special individual to be able to make all these dishes good. And to me, like, that's making an album where all the dishes, we're preparing dinner for you, and all the dishes, the desserts are banging. Everything is banging. And so many people just don't have the skill to do that. And I don't think it's a knock on anybody. I don't think it's a knock on anybody if you can't make 10 banging ass meals. You know what I mean? Like maybe macaroni and cheese is your shit. Maybe turkey is your shit. So some of these people can make incredible songs, but it's hard. And again, people who are artists can attest to this. It's hard to be able to make 10 to 12 incredible songs that are gonna pull you in and keep you there. And when I talk about keep you there, I'm talking about that Thanksgiving Day plate where you go back and you want more mac and cheese. You want more turkey. Not that I just got my plate and I'm just trying to be polite. No, I want more mac and cheese. Nigga, who just ate the last piece of sweet potato pie? Like, niggas be ready to rumble. Like, that's what I mean. It's hard to do that all together, and I think that everybody just doesn't have that. Like I said, think of how many players in the NBA. Everybody ain't getting to the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Everybody. It's not to say you're not a great player. Everybody's just not getting to the Hall. What were you gonna say, Bag?
No, I was gonna say that when you think about it, it's just a matter of strengths and weaknesses when we talk about a lot of these artists. When you recognize your weaknesses, sometimes you're able to turn them into strengths. You know, I think that's what Nas and Hit-Boy are doing, right? Because we've heard Nas on a song with Future before, and it was terrible. Like it was because, to me, I think it was because of his flow over the trap beat. But now he's with Hit-Boy. Shit, I don't even cringe when I see or hear a trap beat come, because I think Hit-Boy is doing a good job of identifying where Nas should be in the pocket with this new Nas flow on this beat. So it's almost like he never sounds off, he never sounds out of the pocket. None of the beats never sound like they don't go with Nas, right? And it doesn't make you think about the mystique of Nas, right? You don't think about the Esco years or the Illmatic. You just think about King's Disease Nas. And I think Nas being, as artists, being vulnerable enough to allow someone to produce him in this way and recognizing, I did it like this before and everybody loved everything. I can't do that no more, but how do I stay relevant? I think he recognized what was weak about his game today, and they fixed it. And so now, like, when we hit play on these joints, we kind of like, we don't believe it. It's like 3 consecutive dope albums now? Like, how? You know what I'm saying? But I think in a lot of ways, like, again, like the example with Kiss doing it for radio, but he's not recognizing what people like about Kiss. We don't want to hear you with OJ the Juice Man unless there's some way you can make it work. You can't just retrofit your traditional flow to some new shit and say it works because I'm Kiss. So I think a lot of artists struggle with that. I think Beanie struggled with that in a lot of ways. Trying to, because he had some hits, but he was featured on a lot of those hits. You know what I'm saying? And now he has to carry these hits by himself, and he's trying to redo it or regurgitate it, and he can't, because he can't help who he is. So a lot of times, it just takes a producer to produce you, to not be afraid to tell you how to rhyme, not completely, right? But say, you know what, that part right there, maybe you should say it like this. And I'm pretty sure, God, I know, like, as an MC, we kind of like, nigga, I wrote it like this. This is the way I want to say it, right?
Absolutely.
It's hot when I wrote it. But sometimes you have to trust. And then when you hear it after the fact, you're like, okay, I see what he heard, what I didn't hear, because I was in my writer's zone, and it worked out for the best. So I think, like, that's kind of like one of the other themes of the show is, a lot of these guys, we love them, but they were doing too much in a lot of regards. It didn't really hit the mark in some ways. So
and I think no, go ahead, Fave. I'll come back.
I didn't think about it until Vegas put it like that. The best lyricists or writers and vocalists, best beat makers, because I don't know the difference between the beat makers and producers. You guys probably explain it better, but it just sounds like if you're a beat maker or you're a writer, no matter what, you're a writer of music. So the best ones are co-producers as well. So for a lyricist to say, "Nah, I said it like this," to be able to listen to a Hit-Boy and trust them, I mean, Hit-Boy is like an executive producer at that point, and Kiss doesn't have that from what you're saying. And a lot of artists don't have that.
Yeah, Swiss, but I just think Swiss be off sometimes, man.
Yeah, I don't know if Swiss.
I think the thing with executive producer is almost like, you know, because me and Fabian always talk ball. It's like a dope coach. You know what I mean? Like Tim Duncan said, he wouldn't be the player he is if he had a different coach every 2 years, like the average NBA player has. That nigga had Greg Pop his whole career. He's one of the top, if not the best power forward ever, at least top 3. But he's like, I owe that to having the same coach work with me throughout my entire career. Not just the same coach, but an incredible, one of the greatest coaches ever. You know what I mean? So, like Vague said, the great point Vague made is that Nas has let himself be executive produced at this stage in his career. Usually at this stage in your career, you're like, nigga, I got this. I'm not. The fuck is you talking about? You know what I mean? So, but being able to do that, like, takes that place of it being like, because here's the thing, everybody can't pick the right beat. You know what I mean? I've said this story a million times. Nigga came through my crib, played on beat. You like it? No. He left. Another MC came over. You like it? Yeah. Wrote to it, recorded. First nigga came back the next day. I played him the song. Nigga, why you ain't play me that beat? Nigga, I did play you the beat. The problem is that you couldn't hear what you could do with the beat. When you heard the finished product, when you heard the song and the verses and the chorus he came up with, why didn't you play that for me? And that showed me right there, back in 96, everybody can't hear what they can do with the beat. And that's no knock on MC number 1. I'm not saying he's a very dope MC, but he just wasn't able to hear everything and pull it together. So some MCs need that, some MCs don't. You know, Vang will tell you, I'll send beats over and I'll be like, yo, like, Vang, I don't know if you remember this. A long time ago, I sent you this beat about something. I was like, yo, I'm seeing death and I'm seeing you talking to Jam Master Jay and all the people who died. Vang was like, nah, I don't. You know what I mean? So it's like, but I loved it because he's like, nah, I can't, I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? But so when I'm making a beat, sometimes I'll have in mind like a concept or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where every MC isn't able to do that, and I don't think that's a knock on anybody. It's just like you have an extra special gift. Like, I think if you're an MC, you're dope, but maybe you're able to do this too, you know, and then maybe you're able to do that. So we were just talking about this whole Hit-Boy, the whole nigga who was with Drake, talking about he wrote for Nas, and then he's like, oh, I just helped him with the chorus. That started a whole thing on the timeline. Like, I'm like, I don't mind the MC needing help with a chorus. I don't look at that as a ghostwriter, you know, because that's something else. Now, maybe you're just a dope MC who can pick beats, write dope rhymes, and write dope choruses. Well, nigga, you Jordan. You know what I mean? But again, every ball player can be Jordan. You know what I mean? And that's no knock if you're not Jordan. You can still have a great career. You know, God, Vague, Gnu, I know you rap. I don't know how easy it is with coming up with choruses. From what I've seen, that's one of the hardest things to do. You know what I mean? Especially if you're trying to sell records. Coming up with a chorus just like, you know, whatever. But I mean, like New York State of Mind, there ain't no real chorus with that. You know what I mean? Like Represent, there ain't no real chorus with that. You know what I mean? Whose World is this? Is probably the most catchiest chorus, and Pete did it. You know what I mean? So again, these are all different skills that, like Vague, I think you're saying, is that everybody may just not have, and it's okay to be like, I need help. And I feel like that's maybe what a lot of MCs struggle with, is saying. I always tell people, Michael Jordan, Tim Grover, I read all his books, love this nigga's books. Jordan's trainer, Kobe's trainer, Dwayne Wade's trainer. You know, people think like Steph just go in his gym and start shooting jumpers from the other side of the fucking building. He has a shooting coach he works with. You know, these great players have people who push them to make them better. Tim Grover is always talking about players. He won't say who, but he's like, yo, this player snuck out the hotel, left the team practice to come get with me. We needed a session. He needed to get his mind right. We sent them back. Like, you need this Tim Grover. You need that person who's going to help connect the dots for you to push you to be greater. You know, and that's why Kobe, oh, that's who Jordan go to? Oh, Kobe go to? Oh, Dwayne Wade, that's who Kobe? Okay, I'm going to. So this is how this nigga has gotten his name out there like that, because it's like, yo, you need that. Some people need that. So I think, Vague, that's a great point. You know, a lot of these MCs may not be able to say, I need help. And then two, guess what? The help costs. So in the 90s, when a lot of times when people would look at they budgets at the end of it, like executive producer, who the fuck am I paying $600K to pick beats? Fuck that. Fire that nigga. I'm gonna pick the beats. I'm gonna pick the beats. There you go.
Look at it this way: for somebody like a Nas, Hit-Boy was money well spent.
Mm-hmm.
It is shifted his career.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? In a lot of ways, and the conversation around him, right? Like niggas is just changing their GOAT list and shit because of it. So it's money well spent. It's a great investment. And then
it's almost like
as an acting coach, still.
Yeah. I mean, but those are the things that people don't see. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see the Beyonce show, you think she really came up with all them steps herself? No, that nigga got choreographer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all these people have help. And to this day, I'm still shocked that comedians have ghostwriters. When I heard that, I almost passed out. I was like, what the fuck you mean? What you mean? Somebody wrote for you, nigga. What you mean? Like, but so again, we all need help. I ain't saying get a ghostwriter, but it's like, it's like getting married. It's like finding the right person who completes you. You know what I mean? I think even through music, that's what you're trying to do. Think of for Cuban Links. Think about Raekwon on Mobility without Raekwon. I mean, without RZA. You see where that shit went. So sometimes you need that shit. The Wu always talks about how like, these albums were so dope because we love being in the studio with each other. They said by the second album, that's why they had to fly out to LA, because like niggas would come in and do their verse and then leave. And it was like, nah, we used to stay in the studio and help each other. Like iron sharpens iron. Like by now that we all blew up, nah, I'm good. That was my verse. All right, I'm out. But that camaraderie and being around each other is probably what made Wu so dope. You know what I mean? Me and they was watching Beach Rhymes of Life the other day, and she was like, well, what was the big deal about Fife moving to Atlanta? And I said, well, if you're used to getting together every day in Queens after school and y'all got this camaraderie and y'all rock like this to make these 3 albums, and now he moves to Atlanta, which he has every right to do, it could just throw things off. And then if you don't want to come back, be like, okay, you live in Atlanta, but it's time to record. We need you to come back to New York for 4 months and just stay here. Like, if you're not willing to do that, that small thing can kind of throw the chemistry off what we're used to doing. If you and your wife live together and then all of a sudden she's a traveling person, that long distance after a while could run its course on your marriage, because it's a change, so yeah, bro, it's rough out here. It's rough. That's
what makes me believe a lot of things are just like, I don't say God's plan, but because it's just the timing of it. Like, it's just, but for you, even when, we never know what a show like this could do, just us connecting and God knows such and such, and you know what I'm saying? He just happens to know a basketball agent or something like that. Like, it's just, that's why you should always keep working, because you never know, and just go with your gut. And it's just a difficult thing, because then how do you tell somebody to just being like that? You got to trust somebody, and you have to be honest with each other. You got to be able to tell them, like you said, you send him a beat. He's like, I don't hear that shit. When you're honest like that, I think that builds the level of I could trust this dude. Whatever he says, go. I edit a lot of shit right now for my man. Shout out to All Ball with Uncle Ice. We just interviewed Tony Childs, Kevin Childs' brother, and I'm just going through everything, and like he hits me up, and it's different now because we're rocking together. So when every time I call him, like, yo, you like this? He's like, yo, bro, I'm gonna like everything you do pretty much. I'll tell you when I don't like something. And it gives you confidence. It's like, I'm just gonna throw this at you and see what you don't like. I dare you to tell me no. But that honesty is there, that trust is there. So it's just, you just never know. And I just always tell people, yo, keep fucking working. Don't not stop working, because you don't know who you're gonna bump into and who you need.
You're 100% right. And you're right, the honesty. Every time me and Vay do an album, I send him the cover, he'd be like, nah, this ain't it. Try again. I'm like, all right. You know what I mean? But whenever we
seem like, I'll be like, nah, man, get that shit out.
No. But I'll send Vegas something, and he'll be like, nah. But the pushing, I think my favorite joint is the joint where you in the subway station.
Yeah.
And you was like, nah, I want the pictures of the old album covers, like in the subway mat thing. Like, you know what I mean? So again, I'm a lazy album cover maker. I'm like, yo, here, let's go. Vay will be like, so I'm just saying is that honesty, or that being able to say, nah, that ain't it, and me be like, all right, bet, let me go back. And then again, once you see what you end up with, you like, damn, this shit was much better than what I thought. Then when he says no, next time is not like, it's nothing. It's like, oh, I know we're gonna keep pushing each other to get the best product out there. You know what I mean? So I definitely feel on that. Next one I got up, my Sadat X, my brand new brother, man. One of my favorite MCs ever. You know what I mean? This right here is my favorite album, Black October. A lot of people have not heard this album. Whenever I talk about it, people don't say anything, but it's a lot of joints on here. We got 14 joints on here, really 13, and I really fuck with probably 7 to 8 hard body. I think, again, it just goes back to the beats with me. You know what I mean? It just goes back to the production being incredible. And to me, this was the perfect album because the outro, he actually explains how he got locked up on Rikers Island, which is a crazy story. And I kind of felt like this album would have been his magnum opus to kind of be like, this is what happened. What am I going to rap about? What the fuck just happened? I just got locked up. I just did a bit on Rikers. I'm getting out, trying to get my life together. And there's pieces of that in here, and I love this album. But again, it was just the production. This is one of those albums that I don't think it was too long. It was like 12 joints on there. But again, it's just the production, wasn't all the way there for me on that joint. But I definitely got Sadat X. Hey, who you got up next?
When did that album come out?
Oh, man, I can't see it.
06,
my glasses.
I believe like 06, 07.
Yeah, I missed
Black
that.
October.
Get the whole...
Yo, that was my shit, man. He was on my list. Sadat X, man, he always had one of those real distinctive voices, man, especially in the 90s.
Like a new set, 2006.
And he's another cat. He's very consistent, man. Sadat X drops an album to this day. He just dropped a project Thanksgiving weekend. He just dropped the project. He's still consistent, but
this joint was tough too. Experience. This joint was a tough joint. This joint right here.
That was the first solo joint.
Nah, this the EP. The first one was Wild Cowboys. This was the EP next.
Okay.
My OG kid called Roots got a joint on here called Cock It Back. That's crazy that Roots did. But yeah, Sadat got a nice, but it's just it just never to me just fits.
Why do you think why do you think people don't gravitate to that? Like
to Sadat?
Yeah.
I think Sadat is like Westside. Like, he got that voice. Like, either you're gonna like it or you're not. Like, when people say they don't like Westside Gunn, I'm like, I can understand because he got a weird voice. Sadat has a distinctive flow. Same way with Freeway. I know a lot of people who really don't fuck with Free. They like he cool, but because he's got when Free first came out, I wasn't a big Free fan because his flow was so different. It kind of took me a minute, then the voice was different, but I fuck with. Same thing with Sadat. When Brand News first came out, I like Puba, Jamar, and Sadat last. And it probably took me until Punk's Jump Up for me to really be like, yo, this nigga Sadat voice and his flow, it took me a minute to get it. But now this dude is my favorite, hands down from Brand News, But I think if you don't really fuck with his voice, he's not making no radio songs. At least Puba had, fucking what goes around comes around again. I like it. Brand New's biggest song was Punk's Jump Up to Get Beat Down. So, and I think the average people that are our age, we probably don't even know Sadat X still making music. You know what I mean? Like, like that, So you got people who like, oh, Sadat got more than one album out? Like, I thought it was Wild Cowboys. That album, I really thought that was going to be the 5 mic classic. So I was kind of let down by that. I just think Sadat is another example of somebody who just needs that executive producer to kind of map it out and say, yo, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the Brand Nubian breakup. Like, let's talk about jail. Like, I would love to sit down and just really write out a goal list with Sadat X about that Black October and how to map it out and what to talk about and what producers to get and how we build this together. To me, Large Professor executive produced Illmatic. I know it says Search, but it was Large Pro who said, nah, let me take you over to Mount Vernon and get with Pete. Let me bring you back out here to Q-Tip and let me connect the dots. Because I always said Large Pro could have brodied Illmatic and produced it himself. And I'm sure Nas would have been fine with that. You know what I mean? But he kind of connected the dots. So I just think with Sadat, you just need a person to connect the dots. But again, are you willing to pay that person to connect the dots? Because the average MC is not going to want to hear, I don't know how to pick beats. Because it's a knock on you. It's like me telling you, yo, you got to work on your left hand harder. You going to your right all the time. Now, if your goal is to be the best player, you're going to be like, oh, word? Okay, let me try to work on my left a little bit. If you think you the shit already, because niggas been telling you the shit since you've been in the 3rd grade, you may be like, yo, fuck this coach. You don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. So, again, I think it goes back to, the trust factor of what Vague was talking about, that you got to trust that OG in the park who's telling you, no, shoot your shot like this. do this routine and do that for you to really start working on it to get better, you know. But that's just my 2 cents. Vay, who you got up next, bro?
Up next, I got Sean Price. I feel like with Sean Price, like, you know, I love Helter Skelter when they were out. Similar to what you've said in the past, Kill, you know, like Roc was kind of like my favorite because he had the ill voice. He always had some ill bars too, still, in a lot of ways. And you know, when boot camp kind of fell off, and you know, I stopped checking for him, and I was hearing a lot about Sean Price, and I was like, Sean Price, ain't that Roc from, you know, Rock and Rock? And I just remember, like, I wasn't really into it because I just wasn't into hearing that brokest rapper alive shit every 5 minutes. I was like, who the fuck proud of being broke? Like, come on, man. But then I think later I got it. You know what I'm saying? Because I could hear his humor. And you know me, I love comedy just as much as I love hip hop and sports. And I was like, okay, I get it now. Like, you know, it's a part. It's like Eminem, right? It's a part of the character. So when I heard Monkey Bars, I was like, especially at that time that it came out, because I think even connecting to what we already talked about, I think the difference between when Big and Jay-Z and Nas were doing party records was that there's bars in them party records. That was the difference between some other rappers, right? Like, I mean, I love records like I Love the Dough, and I know niggas who hate it just because of the beat. And I'm like, yo, the nigga Biggie said, ice project off lights, shit flashes, blind and broke asses, even got rocks in the beard and mustaches. And he didn't say Jesus piece. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
A simple nigga just would have said, I got a Jesus piece on with ice with diamonds in it. That's it. But Big described that motherfucker based off of what it does and how you feel about it. So, and this is, I Love the Dough. You know what I'm saying? Right. So
hold on. Yo, I never caught that.
I know. I'm like, I just caught that Vegas bird. I'm like, wait, what?
That is fucking crazy. This crazy, is why when people go back to Big, I'm like, hold on. Is Jay really better than him? That is crazy. He's always simple, yet so complex. Big was just
right.
God bless, bro. That's crazy. That just blew my fucking mind, bro.
Yeah. You know what I thought that bar was from? I don't know if y'all remember. Kill probably remembers in Vegas too. You remember that? It's a jewelry store in Philly. Robin's 8th and Walnut.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Remember the dude had the diamond in his beard?
The diamonds in his beard, yeah. Yep.
So, that's who I thought Big was like. I thought he was referring to that guy. Every time I hear him say that, I think of Robin's 8th and Walnut, the dude with the freaking diamond in his
beard. Yeah.
But for you to say that, you just make total sense with that, though.
When you think about the time, what was around Big's neck, the Jesus piece with the ice, right? Within the crown and the beard and all of that. Mm-hmm. And when I first heard it, you know, again, this is a 2-step beat. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, what the fuck he just say? I had to rewind it. Like, that's crazy. But
I gotta go rewind this shit now.
Yeah, I'm telling you, rewind the shit. You like, oh, okay. And Jay had some bars in there too, right? You know.
But Veg, that's a great point because that song has bars, and then you look at Hotel with Cassidy, where there are no bars.
Right.
Like no bars whatsoever. It's not a bar to be found.
Right, that's the difference. But yeah, like with Sean Price, around the time that he was starting to, you know, gain more notoriety as a solo artist, I think those types of party records started to die. It got real simple. Like, you know, like with Mace, it got real simple for the most part. So it was getting cheesy. And when I heard Sean Price, it was like a throwback to why I love the shit. With the beats, with how he was rhyming. I didn't give a fuck how many times he said he was gonna slap somebody and thunder and lightning come out there. As I was just like, yeah, this is some Brooklyn shit. I just like it. My favorite album from him is Monkey Bars, because I think describing, you know, what I'm describing about his sound, I think that one, for the most part, is exactly why people like Sean Price, from the production to what he's saying and everything. I know for some people it may be a classic, but for me, I feel like it's not a classic because of the reason why I didn't like it initially, right? Person coming into that album around whatever year that was would feel like, you know, why is he talking about being broke? Like, why is he bragging about that when everything you hear on the radio is bragging about being rich? You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like if you're into the other shit, it's going to be difficult for you to even feel Sean Price because you won't understand why he's doing this. But what he's doing is what hip hop is. He's being different. So I feel like I was mad when he turned down the Rockefeller opportunities because I felt like he could be nice over some shit.
There was a Rockefeller opportunity.
They wanted to sign him, but he didn't want to do it. Yeah. And I was kind of
like him and Memphis Bleeker cousins, but I never knew that The Rock was even interested or whatever.
Yeah, because he was getting all this notoriety. You know what I'm saying? He was hot. And you know, Jay-Z and shit, even sometimes Puff, them niggas know when niggas got bars and they're like, yo. But I think he just didn't want to deal with the politics of you have to make this. I think he was happy making what he made, having a fan base, and just that being that. But yeah, I don't feel like he has a classic. I don't think he got an opportunity to really even make what would be considered his classic, but Monkey Bars is close.
Yeah, love Sean P. R.I.P. man, one of the few rappers from the '90s who I always got hype. You know, to hear what he was gonna do. And it's almost like Sean P. He reminds me of one of them MCs who's just like, yo, fuck a beat, just give me whatever. I rhyme over whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so that may be the downfall too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just here to rap. Like, nigga, throw on a beat, all that other shit, trying to make something for the radio, make something for the girls. Like, what you gonna say, back?
Well, you touched on something sort of kind of personal, but it speaks to exactly what you just said. Ak, who we know, who was making beats as McLovin Beats, he made this like rendition of Brooklyn Zoo for Sean Price, right? Because he knew somebody who knew him and he was shopping him beats. And when I heard it, right, it's similar to Brooklyn Zoo, but different enough. And when I heard it, I was like, Sean Price is gonna fucking kill that. Like, I was hoping he would pick it up, and he just didn't want it. Right? I mean, I took it, so you go to Vegas World, INC.bank, and I feel that shit. And ODB's son was supposed to be on it, but I'm not going to disrespect him and tell the story. That true Hollywood story I won't tell. But nevertheless, it was one of those things where I was like, damn, why wouldn't he, like, even on some mixtape shit, just take, because I know he would kill it, his voice. If Sean Price does like a Brooklyn Zoo now type shit, but you know, he was in his own lane. He liked what he liked. So
yeah, he was also one of those rappers who had a second career. You know what I'm saying? Because when he came with Monkey Bars, you know, he was kind of on a hiatus a little bit from Helter Skelter and everything. So when he came with that, it kind of, you know, gave him a second career because he inspired a lot of rappers, you know, from our generation to like, oh shit, like, oh, okay, I see you still doing it. And he was nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was nicer as Sean P than he was when he was Roc. It was like when I first heard him rhyme, I was like, yo, where's all this shit coming from? The dude that said, you beat it and scream like Michael? I was like, what? Like, yeah.
Yeah, we did a show on like MCs who had like two personalities. So like what's KMD? Zeb Love X becoming MF Doom, you know, or Roc becoming Sean P. So like you said, it was almost like a second chance in life. And I always wondered if this is what happens when you can go solo. You know what I mean? And you don't have to okay everything with your partner, and I can just rap about whatever I want to rap about. I can reach
songs with him and all that. You know, you have Boot Camp in his featured on his shit, but it was still all him. It was like shit he wanted to do, like you said, Kill.
Yeah, the thing I always give him and Ghostface props for, because again, nobody would have ever thought in 1994 that Sean P and Ghostface Killer would be the people holding down their respective crews. You know, if anything, they be one of the last people holding down their crews. You know, ain't nobody alive in 94 talking about, yo, Ghostface still gonna be the shit 12 years from now. Niggas be like, nigga, what the fuck you smoking? Nigga, Ray, go. You know, you would have been naming everybody, but yeah. God, who you got up next, bro?
Man, I was definitely about to go Sean Price next. That was a dope ass pick. Rest in peace to Pete. I'm gonna have to go with Canibus, man. Canibus was like killing everything, you know what I'm saying, for a nice little minute. And I ain't gonna lie, like, can I buzz drop to 98? Some of the albums I mentioned earlier, it took me some maturing and growing up to realize they wasn't as dope as I thought they was. No disrespect to this, but I knew that Can I Buzz shit wasn't it, like, when I heard it, because like I'm used to hearing the 4-3-2-1 verse, the mixtape verses and freestyles and shit like that. And even the single he dropped, I Honor You, like, that was dope. You know what I'm saying? The second round knockout shit. And it's like, when I heard it as an album, I'm like, nah. Like, even at 12 years old, like, he was so hard on the mixtape shit. I'm like, this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what the fuck happened, but this ain't it. Like, I feel like my favorite project from him is 2000 BC. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like that shit. You know what I'm saying? When he dropped 2000 BC, I was fucking with that. But it was like, by then, it's like, shit, Buzz was gone. I don't even think we was mentioning Canibus no more. You know what I'm saying? I think Eminem had already took that slot by that time. You know what I'm saying? So it was like too little, too late type shit. And that was still a time in the industry to where if you flopped first time out, like, they was trying to get you up out of it. There wasn't really no second chances to redeem yourself. You know what I'm saying? There had to be something magical that happened for an artist at that time to get a second chance and really save their career. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he was just killing shit from like 96 to 98. Like, he was so crazy on a mixtape circuit, like, just bodying everything that he fucking touched. And it's like, man, like, when that Can I Buzz shit came out, I'm like, yeah, it had a couple joints on that. Buckingham Palace is still my shit to this day. But it's like, man, other than that, it may be like one or two other joints, like 3, Being Generous. It's like, damn, like, that shit. And I think that shit suffered from production. That wasn't really a lone project. The production on that shit just wasn't it. And I'm like, damn, man, like, that was I don't want to be disrespectful and say a waste of a debut, but it was definitely a missed opportunity to capitalize on a debut with so much buzz. But like, yeah, like Canibus, you know what I'm saying? Like, definitely one of the craziest what ifs in hip hop.
2000.
One day we gotta get a 30 for 30 for him. We need a 30 for 30 on like what happened. Like, you know,
he's still doing it. Like, RJ Payne just had him on some shit, you know what I'm saying, not too long ago. So he's still rapping. He put out his own shit. He did that shit with Corrupt and Chino XL, the Horseman and shit. So he's still doing it. But this from the 90s, like,
it's almost like that saying, like, if a tree falls in the wood, does it make a noise? Like, it's almost like, is Canibus still rapping? Does anybody even listen? You know, but I think what Vague was saying, like with Hit-Boy and Nas, the right collaboration, him getting with Wyclef. I remember being like, why? That's the coach you ever like your sports team ever hire a coach and you be like, really? That's who we really fucking hired?
I think that's that West Indian shit. Both of them West Indian, right?
That's exactly
that West Indian connection. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe it was that. Maybe it could have been greed. It could have been like, yo, this nigga Wyclef just did the score. You know what I mean? His name's out there. I mean, it could have been a lot of things. I'm just saying, we picked the wrong coach. I wanted Ty Lue. They hired Glenn Rivers. You know what I mean? And we're at the Sixers. So he hired the wrong executive producer, in my opinion. You know what I mean? To put that album together. Like you said, it's a one-shot deal, bro. And again, one thing I always give Snoop credit for, that nigga lived up to the hype. Because Doggy Style was one of the most anticipated albums.
Yeah, crazy.
And he delivered with that album. And also keep in mind, the executive producer, Dr. Dre, behind. So again, it's just a testament to when you got the right coach behind you. When Kobe and Shaq ain't had Phil, them niggas was losing to the Utah fucking Jazz. Okay?
Yeah, but
Phil Jackson, these niggas start winning chips.
But it's not just Phil Jackson. That's Tex Winter there. You just happen to have Jerry Krause there.
Yeah. And again,
but I'm saying,
we all know the triangle is not just
No,
Phil.
I'm saying with in Snoop's case, like, it's not this Dr. Dre. he got his dad.
Dog Pound. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
And DOC's in there coaching him.
Shit.
Yeah, DOC's coaching. There's so much talent. Yeah. And I was gonna say about Canibus. I remember the Canibus 2000 BC because I was still, I've been nice since Bob Marley had a Fave. That line was what? How did you even think of that? That shit just. So he killed so many freestyles that I kill you. You hit it on the nose, guard you hit it on the nose. Why the Wyclef thing? What was his team looking like? 'Cause remember, Jay-Z flopped with Volume 1. Even though I like so many songs of Volume 1, back then Streets is Watching brought him back up, right? He had the right team around him. He had Def Jam behind him. DMX just dropped, so now more money was injected into Def Jam. Canibus didn't have that. It almost felt like LL Cool J was the guy against them. This is the superstar Def Jam guy. LL's the first guy to be around for multiple decades. So they had to hold on to LL Cool J. And now the little guys up against him, and he really wasn't their Jay-Z. He wasn't their DMX. He wasn't going to be the cash cow guy. He still was somehow looked at as a risk. He had a lot going against him, and he didn't have the right team around him to protect him. So that sucks.
This
man.
was 98. Who y'all think at that time?
Right music.
That's what I'm saying. Who at that time? This is 98. So, okay, it'd probably take a year and some change to make an album at that time. So, 97, when he creating Can I Bust, who at that time, because that was the Shiny Suit era. Big died in 97. Who do y'all think was, not saying there wasn't nobody around, but who do y'all think was popping at that time that would have helped him make Can I Bust what it was supposed to be? I mean, the obvious probably like a Premier, but who else though?
To be honest, I don't think anybody. And the only reason why I say, here's the thing. I think, of course, somebody could have made a better album than that. But to live up to that hype at that time is just bad timing because everything was the radio at that time. So even OC's Jewels, it's kind of like, I know niggas who hate that shit Far From Yours. Like niggas like, oh, that's a sellout shit. You know what I mean? So all those underground rappers was in this weird space. So much shit got shelved from 96 to 2000 because labels didn't know what to do with that shit. You know what I mean? Your Large Professor's recording his SP 1200 dirty, dusty hip-hop album in 95, 96, about to put it out in 97. Nigga Puffy running the airwaves. Geffen like, I don't know what to do with this old shit. Throw that shit in the vault, tax write-off. So much shit got thrown in the vault, tax write-off, because I don't know if Canibus would have been able to live up to the hype of what we thought he was going to be. He, of course, could have made a better album. I'm not saying that, but I just don't think anybody, unless he got like Puffy and the Hitman or some shit like that behind him to kind of like give him some big type beats or something like that, because what else at that time? Pun was out at that time, right?
Right.
Pun, Nori, Cameron. 98 was lit. But my thing is like with Nori and Cameron specifically, what Cameron had, what was his singles off Confessions of Fire? Was Horse and Carriage Confessions of Fire?
Horse and Carriage.
So 354, Horse and Carriage, and I can't remember if he dropped a third single. Nori had Super Thug, Nore, and I think that was it for his debut. Pun, of course, had Still Not a Player. You Came Up featuring Nori. X came out. We all know the superstar X was. I do think it was a pocket that could have been carved out for Canibus. I feel like he could have fell somewhere in between like a Nori and not necessarily Pun, but Pun, because Pun was so lyrical. So Pun showed you that you could be super fucking lyrical and still make I think Capital Punishment is a classic, but still have radio appeal too. So I think Canibus could have fell between Nori and Pun minus a Still Not a Player type joint. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he could have fell somewhere in between there. I just think that I don't know what the fuck other than the West Indian connection would have made him go look at a Wyclef versus like some of the producers who made some of the joints that he was killing the freestyles over. Like that shit just really, it didn't register me. Even for me as a 12-year-old at that time, I didn't understand that. You going crazy on this shit, but you get with this dude, and no disrespect to Wyclef. I fuck with Fugees and shit, but what he did with the Fugees,
it's a different lane. It's a different lane. Yeah. Vay, what were you gonna say, Vay?
I was gonna say 2000 BC is when that came out, when when I took over Strictly Hip Hop. And remember, Kill, you booked Canibus for me to interview for that album. And I remember. Yeah, that shit is the best and the worst interview I've ever done in my life. But I was able. Originally, he wasn't really trying to talk about anything other than 2000 BC, and I think because of the questions I asked him, he opened up a little bit, and then he would, then he just went on. He talked about everything, LL, everything, and I kind of felt like for him, like hearing what y'all say. And thinking about that time and thinking myself, like, could he have done something? And I don't think so, because I think his weakness is his personality was too much of an MC. Pun on how to be a player tells you that Pun will also be in the club. He'll be in the cypher after the club, but he'll also be in the club. Canibus ain't in the club. If he's there, nobody thinks. Because he just want to battle motherfuckers that's dancing with chicks, and that's not disrespected to him. It's just his voice.
That's who he is. He's an MC.
Right. His voice, his cadence. It's hard to try to make that dude have one, hit record single that's for a party. Because the minute he start rapping, the chicks, like my wife, love hip hop. She loves bars and all that shit, but. If that nigga start rapping like that, you're like, man, it must be virgins in this motherfucker.
He wasn't making no "You All I Need," but I think that I honor you shit. If he would have had like a big name R&B songstress on it instead of whoever that was, I think that shit would have went much further. If he could have got like a Lauryn Hill on "I Honor You" to sing that hook versus whoever the unknown young lady was, much respect to her. Dope voice, but I think that was his best shot at like a single, you know what I'm saying, of that magnitude. Second round knockout did what it did because of the controversy surrounding it and the beef with LL. But that "I Honor You" shit, I feel like that shit could have been stronger and pushed them a little further at least if they just would have, you know what I'm saying, got a popular, R&B singer to do that hook, because it was a dope song. Like, he put that together, and I think that would have been his lane as far as like trying to make something appealing. I don't think he would have succeeded in trying to make no club shit. You just knew that wasn't who he was. You know what I'm saying? But in that lane or something like that, like, I think he could have succeeded with something like that. That's a crazy ass pairing.
Or really, like you said, right? Like if he's with Wyclef because of the Caribbean connection, it's kind of like Sean, right? Do Bad Boy. Get Barrington Levy on that joint. That would have carved out your lane easily. You could have remained. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And not too many people would have said shit about it being your culture because people fuck with dancehall. And that could have been your party record, right? Because then when the dancehall come in the party, they playing your shit, before it or during it or whatever. But I don't know what the fuck they would think with that album.
Hey, what about Rock Wilder? Ain't Rock Wilder West Indian? And didn't he do Blackout for Red MF in 98?
Yeah. See, here's the problem that we going to. Now we gotta get nationality. See, that's the problem. If we only picking niggas like yeah, hey, you put
I'm just saying if that's what
I feel what you're saying, but now we like, okay, who's from Caribbean? Like, I think at the end of the day, and Fabian, I want to get to you too. I think at the end of the day, bro, during those times it was so hard because when you talk about Nori, you're talking about track masters and you're talking about a young Pharrell that gave them they smashes. And then after that popped off with Pharrell, then it was just Super Thug for the rest of that was it. So it was so many small pockets of producers who were really popping still at that time like that. You know what I mean? So it's funny when you brought those people up, and I think with Pun, the great thing with Pun, he reminds me of a Big. He's able to make I'm Still Not a Player and that being fun. You know what I mean? He looks like a comical dude. Like Pun just looked like one of them dudes you just want to hang around. Like, yo, I want to hang out with Pun. So the personality too. So it's not just about you being a lyrical slaughterhouse. Do you even have the personality to go with it? And to me, Pun, like a Biggie. Big, we say big, fat, ugly as ever, but women loved him. People loved Big. You know what I mean? Whereas I don't know if with Canibus, like Vague said, he just in the party to just see who want to start a cipher. Like, when them bars come in 24 hours, I don't know. Fabian, what were you gonna say, bro?
Nah, I again, I love what you guys are saying because it goes back to the team and the Barrington Levy thing would have been just amazing, because now it makes whatever you're doing, like your job as a team, as an A&R, whatever it is, the production side, is to make sure to like compliment the artist. And that's what I was gonna say about albums also. Like, to me, a classic album is always gonna be, what is the tone of the album? Like, Machiavelli to me is a classic. I think that's Pac's classic. Like, All Eyes on Me to me is not a classic, because half the album to me is whack. And I love, like, Tupac is my favorite rapper, but it didn't do what Machiavelli did. Machiavelli has a tone from beginning to end. It's very dark, doesn't change, it's unapologetic. What was Canibus was apologetic. That was his problem. You shouldn't apologize to LL Cool J. Like that. Remember, they played the apology on the mixtape. He should have never apologized to LL. Nah, you a battle rapper. That's who you are. And then to have a Barrington Levy, that shit would have echoed the tonality of a Canibus. Like, you need the seriousness behind this guy who takes rap, who takes everything too seriously, apparently. Pun didn't. A lot of these guys, Cameron at the time, like we just mentioned earlier, Nori, Big Pun, they didn't take themselves seriously at all. Like, and that's what made it fun.
Yeah, I can't call that, man, but that's a good call. Fabian, who's next? I mean, were you next? God, you just went, right? Yeah,
Fabian, I was gonna say, I'm going too much with Harlem. I think I've been in Harlem too much lately, but I was gonna say Jim Jones with the last album, the El Capo joint.
Oh, I love that. Oh my God, that's a classic to me. But I know I'm the only nigga in the world. To me, it's a personal classic. I've never heard anybody else say El Capo was a classic in my life. But Jim Jones and Arsonist from the Heatmakers, man, that's like Pete and CL to me, man. Them two just go together perfectly.
That was his best work to me.
Yeah, it's easily his best work. It's easily his best work.
Well, a lot of dudes.
I was like, yo, did this nigga go to rap school, or does this nigga have a ghostwriter? Like, this nigga went from like my least favorite from the Diplomats to like my favorite.
Yeah, with that album.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said about Ghostface holding down Wu-Tang 12 years later, Jim Jones is holding down Dipset 20 years later, whatever it is.
Never told me that.
That's true.
At all. And yeah, a lot of people like the Diary of a Summer from him, and I like the Uptown dudes swear that shit is a classic. I'm like, no, it's not. But this El Capo thing again is very dark, and I think God Bless the Dead, Fred the Godson was ghostwriting on
Fred's verse on that.
Yeah, and Fred, I would think he would. Yeah, and I would think he was ghostwriting on it, but it's just again the delivery. It fits his image too. Like, he's very. You hear him speak a lot. He tends to speak to spirituality in a dark sense. And just the skull on the album cover set the tone for it. And like you said, like the arsonist. Yeah, it's a lot. It's just very dark. He is spitting, but it's more just Jim. To hear him on the original freestyle, if I'm not mistaken, the first time I heard him rap was on the Dynasty album intro. Cam has a crazy classic verse freestyle on that beat. Jim Jones on there just sounds crazy. You would never believe that dude was ever going to be able to make a good song, let alone a really good album that I would enjoy. So that one, it's missing a couple, again, probably too long, but it's definitely, I wouldn't mind, like Kill just said, it's a classic. I don't mind you saying it's classic. I love it.
Yeah, definitely. Jim Jones is a good pull. Gnu, who you got up?
Yeah, another guy on my list. I definitely had Sean Peebles on my list. I definitely had Sadat X on my list too, man. But Roc Marciano. First time that I heard him was on Busta Rhymes' album with that song that called The Heist, I believe, with Ray and Ghost.
The Heist. Yep.
And since then, like, you know, he was in flip mode too, you know what I'm saying? But right now he's like he's doing the producer thing. He's doing he's still rhyming. And he's doing producing for other people and himself. But even though he got a lot of like albums out there, and on each of his albums there are like, you know, I fuck with a lot of the songs, but I still feel like Roc Marciano is still yet to put out like a real classic, like 5 micer album, you know what I'm saying? He also set off the whole I believe he was one of the first producers that wasn't using drums.
Yeah, he was
in the beats, and then Griselda like kind of just took that and just ran with it. Yep. But I think he's one of the first guys that kind of originated that sound. So I always, credit him for that. I think he's a dope producer and a dope MC. He's not the guy that you're gonna put in this album and like your average cat that likes like Jadakiss is gonna be like, yo, they're not really, because I played him around cats and like, yo, who is this? What the fuck is this type shit?
Right.
But I'll rock with him. But I just feel like he just don't have that real hard. Now the last album that he put out with Alchemist, Elephant Man Bones, a lot of those tracks do have drums, and I think that's probably his best work. But I think he still has. He got some more time before he drops a classic. Real, you know what I mean?
I like his joint before that better than Elephant Man's Bones. Damn, what the fuck is it? The shit with
Marciano?
Yeah, Marciano. Like, I just saw him in Chicago like a couple, what was that, last week? You know what I'm saying? He just performed with Bodie James and shit. But Gnu said something that made me think, just like with Planet Asia and Rock, you know, they kind of like same shit, underground, modern day underground. What's y'all take on modern day underground and classics? Do y'all think it's been any recent classics in modern day underground? Is that even a term that you would throw on some of these projects in the modern day underground? Because the way I look at it, even though I'm in it, the way I look at it, like, I think motherfuckers got their niche and they just stick to that. And it's not really a lot of diversity as far as modern day underground. So do y'all think it's possible for dudes to like make classics today? And do you think there are any modern day, and when I say modern day, I mean like Roc Marciano, Griselda, Bodie James, Rome Streets, like whoever fit in that category. How y'all feel about classics in the modern day underground?
I think you could do it. I mean, Rejects 2 is a classic to me. I don't know if you would consider Freddie Gibbs underground, but this shit.
I don't think that project underground. I don't think that project underground. That's my album of the year though. So separately. That's my album of the year.
Like, I think it's doable. I mean, I like Rejects too. I mean, it's a good question. I think you can. I think it's just like you said. People, oh shit! Y'all know how I feel about this shit right here.
Oh, you know? Stove!
I forgot about Stove.
That's
Stove.
The classic. That's a classic album, B. Produced by
I think you can. I think the thing is, man, is that I don't know if that's what these artists are shooting for. Like Conway said something once. He said something like, "Yo, we make $500,000 every time we drop an album just off merch."
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of times I feel like they're just putting out music just to put out music. Like, especially with Griselda. I used to be the biggest Griselda fan in the world. You know what I mean? Now I'm kind of like, yo, can y'all just chill the fuck out? Like, you know what I mean? Like, Conway dropping 5 albums a year. Like, I'm like, nigga, just go live life for a year. Just go live for a year and come back and write about that. So I don't even think it's in their mindset. And it may be through the streaming shit. It may be from however the money comes in. But I don't think a lot of these underground rappers are really thinking, let me really sit down and make a classic. Like, I think they're like, let's just put shit out. Let's just keep flooding the streets. You know, almost like how Stringer said, yo, we low. Yo, it don't matter. Just step on that shit. Like, niggas ain't really even concerned with making the best crack to get these niggas high. It's like, just get something to just keep the money coming in almost. You know what I mean?
I feel that because it ain't no budgets. None of that. It's all off the muscle, all independent grind. So I feel what you're saying, and I think that speaks to the amount of music that come out as far as underground too. There's always some shit dropping, and even individual artists is dropping all the time. So I think when this is your livelihood, and you might not be making as much money off the music, but the merch and the shows is how you eat. You got to keep the fucking work coming. So it ain't really no time to be sitting down trying to craft my best shit. I kind of feel it, and I would agree with that. But yeah, I'm on some different shit.
What you gonna say, back?
I was gonna say, I don't think there has been a classic. I think Stove God is probably close, or maybe Tana Talk 3. I think from
I forgot about that one too.
From King to a God is somewhat slept on in a lot of ways. probably because of when it came out. It came out in the middle of the pandemic, basically. But for all the reasons you said, you know, their focus is elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? And I think in a lot of ways, they produce so much music that a lot of what we consider classics, we have time in between projects to really sit with those. Regardless of whatever else is coming out, we know Kendrick's not coming out with another album 2 weeks or a month from now. So we have time to sit with that album. And I feel like on the underground scene, they pump out so many different projects.
So much.
Yeah, that you kind of pick and choose what works with you. That's why I like Freddie Gibbs so much, because I feel like he's really consistent. Like, it's scary how consistent he is and how varied in his music. Because I love Benny. Like, if Benny gonna be just a verse on some shit, I like it, and I don't even know the shit really. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like with him, there's also a little bit of disappointment in me as a fan, because I'm like, damn, you should be bigger than what you are. Like, you're known, you're big, but for some reason you're supposed to be a little bit more special than that. And I think he already feels like he is, right? He already made it. So I mean, in a lot of ways, you know, it's kind of like we adapted, right? Like, as hip hop fans from other times, different generations, we sort of adapted to the shit we like. But I've said numerous times on Twitter that I think why I'm so excited for, or at least anticipating a Stove God joint, is because he doesn't have another project. We've been listening to this one to death, and he keep giving us verses. I hope that shit don't backfire. But I kind of feel like, damn, I want to hear from him. Like, I haven't heard from him by himself in a full project in a while. And he may have the potential of making a classic, but I think for me, Roc Marciano made that out. Because you remember, Kill, on your show, I was like, when y'all niggas was like, yo, Stove God, I was like, the nigga name is Stove God. Like,
bro, I didn't want to listen to it based off the album cover. I didn't want to listen to it based off the album cover. My man Joe hit me up, was like, yo, you need to listen. I'm like, this fucking Photoshop album cover. I ain't listening to that shit, man. What the fuck you talking about?
All right, so one last question. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, keep throwing shit out there off topic, but
Nah.
It's triggering shit. Do you think the classic as we know it is dead, as far as this certain space, as far as the underground? With everything we said, is the classic as we once knew it dead?
I think so. I think the last classic is for me, is Kendrick Lamar's first album or whatever, Good Kid, Mad City. Me personally, I'm very harsh about this.
Underground. Like, that's
right.
Yeah, just in the underground space, yeah.
Right, but I think because the heavy hitters are not focusing on that, why should the guys, what are the underground guys or anybody else gonna look up to try to compete with? And even back then, you had to make a hook. Like, I don't remember any real Griselda hooks, and that's what I always felt they were missing, because they have the voice, they have the look, they have everything. Like, people were offended that they were on the same level as the Lox. I'm like, I don't know why you're offended by that, because they kind of rip everything. The Lox had Puff, and he taught them the hooks. He taught them presentation. You saw Jadakiss stage presence and the verses thing. I don't know if Griselda has that part of it. And, you know, and that Buffalo movement, they spearheaded that. So I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the top tier guys, like, Drake is the biggest rap artist. What is his classic album? You know what I mean? Like, and you're the top dude.
On my list, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're the top dude. So what are we really competing against? All right, so we won't make shit either. We're just gonna make the internet mixtape thing, and if it works, it makes money. Like you said, Kill, they're bringing home the bacon. So why should they change?
Man, that's fucked up.
But see, to me, here's the thing, bro. Here's the thing, man. It all goes back to your goal. Whenever I'm working with an artist or working with my kids or working with anybody, a marriage, I'm coaching, what is your goal? You know what I mean? Your goal may just be to make money. Nigga, fucking classic. I don't need a classic. I just don't want to have a job, and I just want to rap. There's somebody out there who says, nah, my job is to make a classic album. Okay, well then we gotta come up. Fabian, great call with the choruses with Griselda. I can't name you too many Griselda songs because they don't have good choruses. Rubber Bands and Weight may be the greatest chorus in Griselda history because you know what I mean? Like, I be like, yo, it's like, yo, I can't even remember album names. I'm like, is this Hitler 8 or Hitler 9? I can't remember. Like, so again, your chorus piece is so, you wouldn't know Rubber Bands and Weight if that wasn't the chorus. You know what I mean? And like you said, that's what Griselda's missing. So I just think it's all just about what is your goal. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people really got to sit down and think about. I tell people this analogy all the time. I do this from teens to adults to everything. Life is a GPS. But when you go to your GPS, the first thing you have to do is put in where you want to go. And you have to be specific. I can't just put in my GPS, I want to go to the mall. I got to put in, I want to go to Tyson's Corner in fucking Virginia. You know, the next thing it's going to do is ask me, where are you at right now? That's where most people have a problem because you have to be honest with yourself. You know, I'm here. I'm not a great hook writer. I'm not a good person doing this. I'm not a good person doing that. Once you get to where you want to go and where you're currently at, then the GPS starts to give you directions. Because the GPS is going to say, you want to go to Tyson's Corner? Okay, Kill, where you at? Your current location? Boom. That's when the steps start coming. Most people don't know where they're at because you got to be honest with yourself, whether it's your marriage, whether it's your work, whether it's just who you are as an individual, how you want to get here, you have to be honest with yourself. And like me at my job, I was like, man, I'm lazy as shit. Ask me to work weekends. I'm like, fuck that, I ain't working no weekends. But the goal was to get a raise. I work weekends. You know what I mean? Like I had to change my mentality to start moving up the GPS route. So it's always just about what's your goal. So if you're an underground rapper and you say, yo, Kel, my goal is to just make money, then I'm going to give you different directions for that. You know, I know nobody fucks with Will Smith. Very great book. He said that his manager said, what is your goal? This is right around the Fresh Prince. He said, I want to be the biggest movie star in the world. His manager didn't. Now keep in mind, this is just Will Smith off the Fresh Prince. Like he ain't even superstar Will Smith yet. His manager said, you want to be the biggest star in the world? Bet. They got a script in. It's going to pay him like $1 million. Will was like, so we taking that, right? He said, nah. What you mean we ain't taking that? That ain't lining up with the plan. You told me you want to be the biggest star in the world. That script ain't going to help you be the biggest star in the world. Then that other script came in, that whatever that first movie was, where I think he was gay or something, 6 Degrees or some shit came in, and it wasn't even paying $1 million. And he said, this the one we doing. And Will was like, yo, that shit only pay like $250,000. Nigga, I'm going based off of what you said you wanted to do. So that to me is how your team has to be around you. You have to have somebody around you who's saying, what do you want to do? Because if you want to do that, then I'll give you directions that way. If you want to go this way, I'll give you directions that way. So it's just really about what these underground artists want to do. If there, so many people are just following Griselda because that's where the underground money train is. So I'm not using no drums. Don't give a fuck about a hook. I'm only doing 2 verses. Shit, you may be lucky if you get 2. I may just give you 1 long ass one. You know what I mean? So again, it's what I ask, whether it's a marriage, one of my teams, anybody who I'm talking with, what is your goal? I can't tell you shit until you give me your goal, and I can't tell you shit until you tell me where you at right now. What you gonna say, babe?
One last thing, because I think we to God's point and question, I think we look to Griselda because they kind of made it popular, right? They made the underground, in a lot of ways, they put a spotlight on it. But I think with them it's difficult because they're still vying for acceptance, right? Like why at this, and in a lot of ways it's acceptance locally, right? Because, Conway's still crying about the boroughs. And what's weird about that is, I don't think he'll ever understand how New York City operates, right? We're competitive with each other. We don't care if you're up there and the shit say New York on it. To us, you're not. You're not us. But they get a lot of respect from New York rappers, right? I'm a big fan of them and shit. And I think that should be enough. But for them, it's like they're always chasing the glory days, 97 Hove and what Prodigy was and what Nas was and blah, blah, blah in 2022. And I'm not going to lie, when I've heard like Conway over a trap beat or even Benny, whether it was one, I'm like, shit, do a couple more of those because, that might get you to a bigger spotlight, and then maybe the shit that you do that we love kind of becomes, you know, a little bit more normalized like it used to be. So I think for them, it's tough to make a classic because they're not always focused and they're always looking. I guess it's because of the age we live in, right? Where everybody can react to what you create and you get to see it, right? You don't see when a nigga buy your CD at a store in the 90s and throw that shit in the garbage right after he listened to it. You never see it because that nigga ain't going and tweeting about it or filming it. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just a different game. And, you know, I would hope, but, you know, when you look at hip hop coming up on 50 years and you compare it to jazz, to rock, all these genres had their beginnings where it was like huddled down and this is the core fan base and this is what's dope. And it got watered down and taken over. And now you got to search for, you know, that hardcore jazz, little standards and shit. So it's difficult to say because you kind of balancing two, and Griselda is more concerned with you know, how they look amongst New York, more so to me than they do you know, how they look standing next to somebody like a Kendrick. So
I just want to ask, what is you know, in today's world, what defines a classic album today? Like, are we still looking at beats? Are we still looking at lyrics? Are we still looking at hooks? Like, what in today's world, what defines a classic album?
I think the same rules would apply because it's still rap, it's still hip hop. So I think the same rules would apply. I understand it's a much different time. That's why I pose the question, because I just think it's such a different time. I don't think you grade classics differently. I just feel like it's so fucking microwavable. It ain't really an opportunity to like get a classic. And that's why I threw my hat like in jest and shit, because it's kind of like I'm the motherfucker chasing it. You know, I'm chasing history. Like, I might be the fucking new Sean Price, rest in peace, because I might just be the brokest motherfucker you ever heard. Because it's like, I don't give a fuck about the other side. Like, I want history. You know what I'm saying? And I know more times than not, money comes with history. So I ain't really stressing that shit. I would like to be able to provide for my family off this shit right now, but that ain't what it is. But my thing is, I'm hardwired this way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I studied the GOATs. You know what I'm saying? And that's, all of them have multiple classics under their belt. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like I'm chasing history. That's my end game. Like, I don't give a fuck about who accept my shit and who don't. Like, when I'm 36, when I came back into this shit, I already knew I was going to have to think a certain type of way if I wanted to mentally be able to stay afloat and stay on course and finish out the mission. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, it's fucked up. I agree with y'all saying, but it's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Looking at it from an artist perspective, that's hurting the artist side of it. Because it's like, damn, like, I'm chasing history. Like, that shit don't even mean nothing no more. 5 mics was everything when I was a shorty. Nobody even fuck about that shit no more.
But here's
you know
the
what I'm
good part,
saying? So it's kind of like
the other niggas. But here's the good part: leave the lane open for you, because
absolutely.
other niggas don't give a fuck about that. Like, that's the thing.
Yep.
Like, niggas
Yep,
don't
absolutely.
care. Like, that's the
so
thing.
I go harder and I mash out. Yeah.
To me, niggas is always sending me they shit, like, and I'm like, yo, this is cool, but like, I'm always like, why should I listen to you? Everybody raps, so you gotta do something different. You gotta give me, like, is there like, Veg, I'll never forget, Kel Spence, when he was just Lenny, he came to 889, he's like, yo, I got this joint called Club Visions. I was like, word? I was like, all right. He was like, yo, it's about me trying to get in the industry, but I'm using the analogy as the A&Rs or the bouncers at the club and me trying to get in. And I said, oh shit, I'm playing that shit. I ain't hear it, never heard, but that concept, that's enough, because I'm like, everybody raps. Everybody fucking raps. My mentee, who I've known since he was 12 years old, got my motherfucking car today, was like, I rap. I'm like, nigga, you 24 now, I've known you for 12 years. Now you rap. Everybody raps. You know, so I'm like, you got to do something. Even when I did my Through the Wire beat tape, it was like, everybody's doing a beat tape. I gotta do something different. Okay, I'm gonna mix it with the wire, with my beats, and then that's what helped get that thing off. Like, you gotta have something that's gonna get somebody who's like, yo, I don't know you. Why should I listen to your shit? So whenever I'm doing something, I'm always thinking, okay, would I listen to this shit? The reason I started a video podcast and not an audio podcast is because I don't like audio podcasts. So I wouldn't even listen to my own shit. So the first thing I had to say was I need to do a video podcast because that's the only way that I would look at some shit. So, but I don't think a lot of people take the time because, bro, that's a whole nother part of your brain that you got to use. So we love the fact that half the MCs are like, yo, this is dope. I'm indie. I don't got no label. And the problem is you indie and you ain't got no motherfucking label. That's the problem. Because after Gangstar got finished doing an album, they said, here you go, and gave it to the marketing department. And then they did their magic. And then the radio people called me in Vegas up and say, hey, Vag, Kill, what's up? We need y'all to play these records. And you had a team. Now that you're indie, just because you a dope rapper don't mean that you are a dope promo person. It don't mean you a dope. You saw that Wu-Tang joint, how they was calling the radio station like, yo, play our shit. And Ghost Girl had to be like, yo, chill the fuck out. Like, yo, let me call for it. Like, that's the thing. Now you need that team behind you. And I don't think a lot of MCs really have that team, want to put that team together and things like that. So, I mean, I think it's bad, but what Jay say on that Drake song, you know, the homie said, it's not many of us. I told him less is more, homie, there's plenty of us. You know what I mean? So I look at it from that aspect, like, yo, that's dope that y'all just worried about that. Good, get the fuck out my way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you on 95, everybody stopping at the rest stop. Good, nigga, I'm straight. Now I could open the car up out here on 95. I'm by myself out here. So that's how I look at it. But I mean, I just think, again, bro, a lot of these younger niggas don't know how to make a classic. You know, I've been in the studio with people who don't even care about the track listing. I've seen MC just say, yo, just put them shits in whatever order. We just put them in the order we recorded them.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? So again, and for them, they don't know about. I'm like, no, bro, you gotta start the album off good, and then I want to end it good, and you gotta get something in the middle. You know, it's like a movie, and they're like, nigga, just put that shit. What we gonna call this song? That's another thing with Griselda. Them niggas name a song anything. They name a song Subway Train. Yeah. Like, don't got shit to do with a subway train. like just, you know, just whatever you wearing. NY, what we gonna call it? NY 96. Like nigga, like y'all don't even put no thought into the title of the song. You know what I mean? So again, when you make music like that, again, it's literally just to put something out versus it being, let me really sit here and crack. God, the video you did with the straight jacket, that may have been the most innovative video I've seen fucking years, from indie artists to signed artists. You know, who's taking the time to really think about a video concept anymore? We're going to get the video camera. We're going to post up outside the bodega. Everybody got their guns, got their money. Give me some weed. Let's go. Video shot. You know, video done. So niggas ain't even taking the time to even put together like, yo, here's a video treatment. What? The treatment, we in front of the store. Like, right. There's the treatment. You know what I mean? So again, I shot this video for my man Driz, and I had this idea for a script for a hitman who's a hitman, but he really wants to be a rapper. So I started writing the script, and Driz needed a video shot. I said, dog, get you and Randy, put on some black suits. We're gonna drive down here, and shot the whole video at this abandoned hotel. I thought it was abandoned. People really lived there, but we shot at an abandoned hotel, and it's like about two hitmen going to go kill somebody, and they about to kill him. And then I call him on the phone. He like, yo, hold on, before we kill this nigga, I gotta do these rhymes for kill. And then he spit the rhymes, and then we hang up and he go back to kill the nigga. It's like that's where my mind is still at. Like, let's make a video with a concept. Like, where most people are just like, nah, let's just post up in front of the store. Sorry, Faye, what you gonna say?
You covered a lot, but I think it starts with, even with something like this is the easiest part to creating anything, is this part right here. Just the content creator part is, I don't think that's the hardest thing for an artist. And like I said, I'm editing stuff, so when I edit, that's the hard part. And then on top of that, the marketing is like, Kill's good at telling me that, and my man All Ball, if you start off with that one fan, you start off with nobody. So once you find that one fan, you gotta keep going back to them, because that's the guy or the girl that heard you. So now you gotta like build from that and work with them, because that's really like your A&R now. Like, what did you like about me? What don't you like about me? All right, you don't want to question yourself, but something got to be built from there. And to find your niche, I think that's what it is now. I think everybody got a niche. I think sometimes we think of the world as way smaller than what it is, because you never know. Like with this YouTube shit, I had somebody from Argentina hitting us up in the comments on my other channel, put it in perspective about what we did with Nas. And he's like, yo, I don't even understand English. I'm just translating everything. So I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So it's just about doing it. And then sometimes, you know, you could go in there blind and it feels like you're lost. So you got to find that one fan and you build from there. And it's not easy, bro, because I'm telling you, with this content creator shit, like right now, I got to speak to y'all off mic about what it is for me right now, what's stopping me, but it's always going to be something. But I'm trying to find a way in the game where if it's editing, I'm backstage now. So all right, cool, I can still build off this and make connections. Like I met Kill through Twitter, literally. This is sick. I'm meeting y'all through this. This is sick to me. I always tell people this is the best and the worst era, because you go online, you think it's the end of the world, you think everything is under destruction, but at the same time, we're online right now, total strangers. Amazing.
You know, bro, it's about how, and that's why I try to teach my teams. Y'all niggas have superpowers. Just use that shit for good. You know, stop using it for evil and use the shit for good. You know, that's the beautiful thing about Twitter. You can meet, if I'm using this just to connect with people. You know what I mean? God sent me his shit one day. And I listened, I was like, yo, this shit crazy. I called Portionetti immediately, like, yo, we gotta push this nigga shit. This shit crazy. You know what I mean? So again, but you gotta look at people's hearts. You know what I mean? Maybe somebody else will be like, yo, I ain't produce shit for this nigga. I ain't pushing that nigga shit. But my goal is just to keep hip hop moving forward. I don't give a fuck if I produce for God ever. I'm always push this shit. You know what I mean? So again, what's your goal? You know, what was the goal of Apartment 5B? I want to educate things. I want somebody who's young to be able to learn. I want somebody old to be able to reminisce. That's why there ain't really no arguments. If you want drama, this is the wrong show for you. We boring as shit. like there ain't gonna be no kill, slap Porsche, and fucking Eddie Colburn and dickhead. Like, we don't do that shit. So it's like, if that's what you want, I'm sure there's something out there for you. But the goal is, I want this to be some place where when people talk about the old heads don't pass knowledge on, you pass knowledge on. You don't know how much shit. I love it because I learn shit, new shit every week. So I know there ain't no way nigga watching this can't say he learned new shit. I had no idea there was 2 Camerons. Now I gotta go back and listen to a fucking album from fucking 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So again, I think that's the thing, is just, you know, how we use it. But again, I think it just comes down to the goal. So God, like you said, you want to make timeless music. If you want to make timeless music, and there's also the fans, because we accept everything nowadays. We accept anything. You know what I mean? How the fuck are y'all just accepting niggas rhyming over no drums? I don't understand that shit. That's like, if y'all remember, I don't know if it was like this everywhere when Popeye's chicken sandwich was popping. Them niggas actually said, yo, we don't have no bread. You could bring bread and we'll give you a chicken sandwich, but we still gonna charge you full price. Nigga, how the fuck you gonna charge me full price for a beat and there ain't no goddamn drums? That's a fucking Big Mac with no meat, nigga. And if niggas dumb enough to say, okay, I can't be mad at the producers for not wanting to put no drums on. You know, like, I don't blame the barbers who be putting fake beards on niggas. I blame the niggas who pay $150 to get a fake fucking beard. So don't get mad at the barber. Get mad at the nigga who want a $150 fake beard. So again, if you just gonna accept drumless hip hop, 10 years ago, niggas wouldn't even do that shit. I was trying to give niggas drumless beats just on some shit like, yo, we gonna put an EP out for free. I don't feel like looking for no drums. I'm gonna just loop some shit up. And niggas like, yo, I ain't rhyming over no motherfucking shit with no drums. Man, stop being lazy. Now everybody I've had niggas tell me, Kill, can you take the drums out?
Oh shit.
Yeah. I had an MC tell me the other day, he was like, yo, I like the no drums because it gives me more time to breathe.
Oh wow. Okay.
So Kane and Rakim and Nas and Jay and all these niggas just weren't breathing. They couldn't. But again,
yeah, I don't understand that.
But here's the thing: if you a young boy, that may be what you. That's what it is right now. You know what I mean? So it's like whatever the fad is, that's what they follow. So again, you talking about classics? Yo, let's go on Twitter right now and ask is Rome Street's new album a classic. Bet you that shit get more people saying yay than nay.
I'm just thinking you saying that and Method Man breathing on was part of his the breath control. You know what I'm saying? Like I can hear him breathing while he's rapping. And that's how he breathed.
That was part of the reason why.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but it's like that. That's the mystique. But again, it's about most people compete based off of what's happening right now. So the same way that a Ben Simmons may have been the shit back in 94 when the point guards ain't have to score 30 points and wasn't shooting fucking 53s a game. But in today's game, it's not working. And it's similar with hip hop. You know what I mean? Like some fans don't want to hear the traditional hip hop that we grew up on. They don't want to hear the bars. They don't need the rewind factor. You know what I mean? They just want to hear a dopey. I mean, again, bro, it just goes back to gold. But you're right, it is sad because when Tan Talk 3 came out, I said, yo, I'm gonna give it 4.5. Nigga got at me on Twitter like, yo, Kill, I thought you fucked with Griselda. I was like, I love him. He was like, well, why didn't you give it a 5? I was like, because I think it's 4.5. And he was like, well, if you fuck with Griselda, you give it a 5. And see, that's the mentality that people have now. That if you really fuck with somebody, you would give it 5. Because my young boy schooled me, he said, OG, it's either 5 mics or it's trash. Ain't nothing in between. So when you say somebody's album is good, these young niggas just take it as you calling it trash. And that's the thing. Back in the day, 4 mic, I mean, a good album. If somebody tell me a Vague album is 4 mics, I'm happy with it. Damn, I'm good. Thank you. Nowadays, somebody tell you it's 4 mics, you like, man, fuck you, nigga. It ain't 5. Well, then get the fuck out of my face. Like, goddamn. Like,
yo, 4 mics was a classic back in the day. They had to re-rate a lot of shit. 4 mics was solid.
You know what I mean? But again, that's just how the game has changed. So the fans have changed. The artists have changed. So like, for God, he knows what his goal is. So he moves accordingly to that goal. To me, that's why Nas is able to make such amazing music right now, because he's free. This nigga's fucking rich. Like I said, if everybody in this room could say, yo, my family is good and my child's generation is gonna be good, think of how much shit we'd be able to do. Whatever is your hobby, you could just focus 100% on that hobby and do it with joy. And with Nas, he's an MC. So now I don't have a label telling me what type of music to make. I can make music whatever I want to make. I don't have to make music wondering and hoping, is it going to sell so I can put my daughter through college or I can pay this child support. Yo, when you are financially free, bro, you are just able to just relax. That's what I love about that song, Reminisce. When he be like, I don't like to reminisce because the way we living right now is really lit. Like, yo, I don't want to talk about fucking living in Queensbridge. Motherfucker, I'm about to go fly to Paris and bounce back to Dubai and buy 2 new houses. Nigga, I don't want to talk about Queensbridge. Let's talk about now. But how many niggas right now is living like that good? Mm-hmm. You know, and it's that financial freedom. So like God said, he's in a place where, yo, I don't need this hip hop to pay my bills. I would love for it to pay my bills, but I don't need it. Now, if he, you know, God forbid, if something happened and an MC loses his job and this is all you got, now you got to think differently towards your music. You got to think differently towards your art. Fuck music if you was an artist. Maybe you like painting abstract shit. You lost your gig, your daughter's in college, rent's due. You may have to paint some bullshit just to try to sell it. You know, but again, if you're financially free, you could just do whatever you want. And like you said, Fabian, just keep working. Just keep working. Just keep working. And that's the part that a lot of MCs and a lot of people, individuals don't get. Just keep working. Because once you put that down, I've told this story a million times. Me and they playing in grass. She was pissed because we did all this work and it was just that. She's like, nigga, where the grass? I'm like, no, you got to water the grass. She's like, what happens if we don't water the grass, Daddy? I said, all the work we just put in 8 hours tearing that yard up was for nothing. Mm-hmm. So if you stop rapping now, all that rapping you did for the past 10 years was for nothing.
Right.
So the whole point is you plant the seeds, you got to keep watering and keep watering. And of course, with grass is different. You know, after about a good month, you're going to start seeing blades of grass come up. Life ain't like that. You may just have to keep watering and watering for years. I've been doing this podcast for almost 10 years next year between Live from the Writer's Bench. And I still struggle to get 2,000 people to listen to the show every week. But I'm not going to stop because, one, I love doing this shit. I love talking with y'all. I love learning. And again, I don't have to do this shit for the money. God can say, Kill Apartment 5B ain't never going to make a dime. Okay, cool, God, thank you. I'm still going to be doing it every week. Y'all free? Like, that's not going to shift the way my mind thinks because I don't do this for the money. Because I'm blessed that I have a job that pays me enough to do what I need to do. You know what I mean? So again, but I also have to understand that there are people out there who aren't in that position. So if you aren't in that position, then you have to do what you have to do to keep your bills paid. And if that means you have to make music you necessarily don't want to work, don't want to make to be able to feed your family, nigga, go do that shit. I'd rather you do that than be out here selling drugs or stealing cars or robbing niggas. You know what I mean? So again, it's just about the places we're at, where we are, and how we can do it. But again, Rome Streets, I'm guaranteed they'll say it's a classic. I've already seen people say it's a classic. So you asking us in this room Are they classics? We like, 1 or 2. Go on Twitter, ask that shit. You're gonna see a billion. Everything Griselda did is a classic. Guarantee you somebody gonna say that. Every West Side Gun album was a classic. Every Conway album was a classic. Every Benny album was a classic. I mean, Benny told you, he said he already a legend. I don't know if Benny's a legend.
He is not.
Maybe a Buffalo legend. He may be a Buffalo legend.
Yeah, he's definitely a Buffalo legend.
Definitely a Buffalo legend.
Didn't Draymond Green say he the best defensive player ever? And what did he say? If I don't say it, who else gonna say it? You right. You're not. but sure, it's your shit. So we're living in a generation where people talk their shit. I think somebody said it with Jay. Like Jay put his name in that who's the best MC, Biggie, Jay-Z, or Nas. I don't know if niggas was really saying that before Jay, but he put his name in there, and now everybody's saying who's the best MC, Biggie, Jay-Z, or Nas. So sometimes you gotta put your name in the conversation and trick people. So
Shout out to B-Man. B-Man said that. He said he was at the concert and Jay said it. He said when he said it, he had no business saying it. So, and I thought he was just being a cocky dude, but he himself said that. So I was just like, damn, I didn't think that. I thought when he said it, it was starting to buzz because of the Biggie co-sign, and then Streets is Watching was coming out. But you're right. Like, why not? If I ain't better than Big, I'm the closest one. I thought that was offensive when he first said it. Like, wasn't that your man? But then all of a sudden it became, yo, he is better than Big. I was like, oh, where did this come from? Before that was sacrilegious.
What certain motherfuckers is no belief.
Who called the legendary before they said the legendary Roots crew?
Yeah, that's true.
They put that on there. They said we're the legendary Roots crew. Everybody said they're the legendary Roots crew. So you know what? Maybe you just got to say that. And here's the other thing about a team, and I want to try to at least get the rest of what everybody had. A lot of things that people don't know about the Roots is that they had this manager called Rich Nichols, who was an older dude, an older jazz dude, who was with them from the beginning. And if you really listen to interviews with them, Rich planned out their entire career. Like Quest was saying how Rich planned years ago. Like, we need you on late night television. Like, this is how your story is going to end. Quest was saying how Rich on his deathbed, because Rich recently died, I think from leukemia. But he said even on his deathbed, he was like, Amir, here is the next 10 years of your life. Black Thought, here's the next 10 years of your life. On his deathbed. Helping them plan things out. So like Quest doing all these cookbooks and this cooking show, that was all Rich. Rich told him to do it. Getting them on a Tonight Show, all Rich. So just an example of how when you have somebody on your team who is on their deathbed, still telling you, this is the way that you need to go. You need to get over here with this cooking shit. And now Quest is like the cookbook for, everybody's going to him for cooking. And he's got a new cheesesteak, a vegan cheesesteak, blah, 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 blah. And Thought, Broadway, Rich planned all that shit for him. So it's just a testament when you have, and you can look at the Roots, 91, 90, they got 90, Do You Want More is 1994, it's 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And these dudes are still relevant. And he said, we have to get you to a point where we have to stop touring 365 days a year. People have kids now. People's kids are crying at the airport. People are quitting the group because they want to be with kids. We need to find a way that we can get everybody in the same city and everybody can be happy. And now they on the late night show. So when you have, but they kept the same coach. They did it Tim Duncan. They had the same coach from the beginning of their career all the way up until he died. The Roots Picnic, Rich. So all these things about who is on your team, who's managing you, who's keeping you focused. So just something else. All right, real quick. Vay, who else you got left, bro?
I have a couple of, I had a couple of people that was mentioned, like Beans and Fabulous. But I also have MOP. I love MOP. Like, I love everything they do. But to me, they don't have a classic album. I have a favorite, right? Like Firing Squad is probably my favorite out of the albums. But when people say, well, what's their classic? I'm like, shit, you probably think the Annie Up Warriors is probably the one, but that's their most commercially successful, I believe, album. But I just feel like for them, The problem is that I don't think people who generally like hip hop like niggas yelling all the time, right? Because they say it about Meek, and I feel like Meek don't really have whack albums. Like he got one that was, I think, was the first one that was like so. When I press play on it, I'm like, damn, nobody like this shit. But niggas be like, yeah, but why that nigga yelling though? It's like, the fuck is hip hop? Niggas different from everybody else. Right. But I always looked at MOP like, you know, I always try to make those comparisons. Like, you know, MOP's like heavy metal, you know, like it's rock, but it's a harder version, right? It's metal for hip hop. So the yelling and all that shit is a part of it, man. And I think I was so shocked when Annie Up was a hit and people still didn't get it, right? Because it's like, but that's the essence of them niggas, man. Only the nigga Billy Dan said, "Fuck you, Your Honor." And I felt like he would say that shit in the courtroom, right? Like, and I would be in the back like, yeah, nigga. So I mean, I love MOP. I love, you know, the majority of the music, even some of the stuff like the unreleased stuff that came out, like Instigator and all that. I think they have humor. Right? I think they do the hardcore thing. I think sometimes they talk about serious subjects. But people don't like the fact that they're yelling, so they can't hear none of that because they just can't get past the delivery. And it's a shame, but they're definitely one of my favorite groups of all time, but they will never get that kind of respect or have someone call them a classic. And I'm even talking about from heads. Forget the casual.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah,
the closest is Firing Squad, but I can't even get that 5 mics across the board.
Right.
Funny MOP story for people out there who make music. MOP made a song with Jay-Z with the Rocky theme song on the
Four Alarm Blaze. Now on paper, that looked like it would be the shit. This is the time we're using songs everybody knows, samples. We got Jay-Z. It's Rocky. This is gonna be a hit. Nothing. Crickets. Then they do a song about robbing niggas and Flex blows it up and it's the biggest song in the world. It goes back to there's no recipe. Just make dope ass music. That's what the key is. You know, because on paper that 4 Alarm Blaze look like, oh, I'm sure that they was in the studio like, yo, this is it. And we got Jay. Oh, it's gonna be crazy. Nothing. Same thing with Smooth the Hustler. Came out with the A-side, Hustling. Over the Curtis Mayfield joint. Crickets. B-side, Broken Language, nigga. Touchdown. Perfect hip-hop song. You know what I mean? So again, just make dope music. Please don't try to follow the recipe because it don't work for everybody.
You know what? You make a great point with MOP and going back to I Am God, because like you said, you know, you out here trying to make this music the way you want to make it. And MOP is a prime example of that. I mean, the shit was getting played on the radio and these niggas talk about kidnap that fool. Like, what? Our program director be like, nah, you can't talk about kidnapping people on the fucking. But it didn't matter. And I was in the clubs back then. The ladies loved that shit. The dudes, you know, I'm from Brooklyn, so I started feeling like, oh, we about to fight. I don't know why, but fucking Andy Up's gone. They could just fight anybody. So, you know what I'm saying? It's exactly what you said, Kill. It's a prime example of them being true to themselves and what they like and what they think is hot. And that original, you know, energy comes across to people. I mean, it's the same reason why, you know, like Michael Jackson resonates with little kids now, and he's not even here. It's because he's so pure in his delivery that it doesn't matter that he came out years ago. It's something innate in a human being to be like, damn it though. It's the expression, you know what I'm saying? The pure expression of himself that a person can relate to in whatever way, whether that's joy, sadness, anger, whatever it may be. And that's what kind of endures you to an artist. So I would say to you, I Am God, keep doing what you're doing, man, because I listen to your album and I'm like, yeah, I ain't rocking no more. This nigga bars is, I can't think that much, man. I can't, I ain't got that no more. I be thinking like, yeah, I'm not thinking about all that shit, nigga. I'm just talking about my cousin. And,
Gratitude, bro. That's love.
God, you got any more people left? Just real quick to run through.
Yeah, last one. Cassidy. That nigga, like, I actually kind of like molded my style after him. That was like the whole Jada his era. Yeah, Cassidy. Yeah, that was that was my high school shit. So Cassidy and Jadakiss first debut shit was like freshman year for me, high school. So that was like, I was trying my hand at the punchline rapper shit. That's when I was starting to find my niceness, you know what I'm saying, and know how to really put this shit together. So I kind of molded myself after Kiss, Cassidy, like the punchline rappers and shit. Don't have a favorite album by Cass. It's just the fact that he was another one of them niggas killing everything on a mixtape circuit, and it was a nice little buzz around him. Not as big as other artists, but it was a nice little buzz around him. And it's like when that split personality shit came out, it was like, yeah, that shit was crazy. It was totally different from what the fuck we had got to know him for.
Right. I'm with you. That's my young boy, live across the street from me in Philly. Grew up on my block. I think the second album, I'm a Hustler, was dope, but I think I always said Swiss is really dope at working with artists who are already known. I don't think Swiss really does a good job of working with upcoming artists. So if you're already dope, Swiss is gonna lace you. I don't think if he gave Cassidy to bring him out beat that he gave T.I., it's the same smash that T.I. made it, or you know what I mean? So I think that second album was dope, but again, Cass getting locked up. Then a lot of people didn't know that he got in that car accident where like he lost his memory for a minute. You know what I mean? Like it was like back to back to back shit with Cass. But yeah, definitely. I feel you, because trust me, I was talking so much shit about Cassidy. And when Hotel dropped, nigga, everybody, especially my New York niggas, was like, "Word, this your man? This the nigga with your man with the fucking mask on? You and R. Kelly, you taking bitches to the hotel, kill? That's what you doing?" So yeah, I had to eat crow for a long time because of mask on too. I think
that was the Pied Piper era, dude. The R. Kelly with the
just
mask on.
We had one on also.
Oh no,
I don't think Cassidy.
R. Kelly.
Fabian, who you got left, bro? You got anybody left, or you done?
I mean, I was gonna say Puff. I think his first album is like, I don't think it's considered a classic, but and I know there's a lot of features, more like a compilation thing, but it wasn't. It was surprisingly good to me, even with the features and everything, because that song with Twista is crazy.
No Way Out.
No Way Out.
No Way Out.
Yeah.
Song with Twista is crazy to me. Song with Black Rob, is that the same song?
Nah, Twista is this the end? The Black Rob song is "I Love You, Baby." I think.
I think they're both just. It shows you how great, how going back to the whole team thing is like, oh, what if this was Biggie's album, or anybody, or even Black Rob? Because Black Rob's album was really good. Black album, like, it's kind of underrated at this point, but they had the same attempt, but it was Puff, so it was just so surprisingly good to me. And I think it goes back to, I guess, trying to circle around to what the conversation was this whole time, is if you don't have a team, you can't make that. And obviously he was piggybacking off of Biggie's death, God bless the dead. But that Black Rob, I think it was somebody else I forgot to mention that I was thinking
Mace was a big part of that shit. He had Carl Thomas around there, Kelly Price. So he had a squad, man. He still had I think Total was still around at that time, 112. So he still had a squad, a lot. Shit. He still had a squad.
And when you think about it, together, those labels, even when you go back to Motown, you have people who will play songs and people will vote on them. They be like, that's not a hit. These underground rappers they don't have a team of people. Anybody who's in the studio with them smoking, getting high, gonna say whatever. Westside Gun, I always joke, Westside Gun could make a song sounding like a cricket. Niggas gonna be like, yo, that shit crazy, God. Put that shit out tonight. You know what I mean? And so you don't have nobody pushing you like, nah, that ain't the right single, or like that. You know what I mean? To give you that pushback. But yeah, man.
And Puff is the ultimate pushback guy. Right. Also, from what I understand, right, he's a perfectionist. So, and it makes sense with those songs sounding the way that they did. That's really what I guess, I don't know why I'm shocked. Maybe knowing what I know now, I shouldn't be shocked. but he's gonna push for it to sound that polished and that good. And you know, it's almost like I might get voted off the show for saying Puff has a damn near classic album, but it's I think it is close to it.
Here's the thing, bro. Go ahead, man.
Remember this, and this was prior to his death. Biggie was the executive producer along with
Absolutely.
So that played a big role in what that album was versus the other Puff albums.
Right.
That was said in a couple different interviews. They was switching roles. Big was more the executive and Puff was the artist.
Yeah.
For No Way Out.
I forgot
Now,
about
Fave,
that.
you're not gonna get kicked off because I'm not saying this is a classic album by no means.
Right.
Zero. This is a very good album. Diddy Dirty Money?
Oh, okay.
I know people are gonna look at me like I'm on crack right now. This album is not as bad as you may think it would be. It's Diddy Dirty Money. That's when he was with old girl, one of the chicks from Danity Kane and the other shorty. It's not as bad as what people think. So you're not getting booted off the show, baby.
No.
Oh, what? You had another one?
Yeah, no. I think they consider Nipsey's album a classic because I don't know if it has so many songs, but he has so many songs. Yeah,
that's how I try to look at it. I didn't hear anybody say it was a classic before he was dead. That's how I look at it. I thought it was a classic, but now that he's dead, of course, every mixtape Nip did is a classic now. So.
He definitely has classic songs on there, like that. Too many of them. I just think it was too many songs.
Yeah, just another album that we need to shorten down. It's like when niggas got the CD and it was like, yo, we got 80 whole fucking minutes. I'm gonna use 79.59 to the second. I'm gonna use every inch of this 80-minute CD to get everything I got to say. And when, like you said, back in the days, I remember albums with 8 songs, 4 on one side, 4 on the B side. That was it. Gnu, you got anybody else left, bro?
I did have one more cat. Cormega.
I heard The Realness was a classic. I'm not too well versed in that particular album, but I had a lot of dudes say The Realness.
I don't think so. I don't. I respect the guy, but he never really made a classic for me, man. I know he just dropped The Realness too.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I mean, what do y'all think that he's nice?
Go to me. I'll go last on Mega. I'll go last.
I'm from Queens, and I just never. I get it, but to me, he always sounded like he was stuck in 1989, and it was just like I don't get the whole like he's nice like that. Like, yeah, okay.
Like he has a song with Nas on here called "Glorious," and like I said, I respect the guy, but I see him like he's comparing his verse to Nas's. Like I'm like they would like how did like. He feels like they go bar for bar type shit, and I'm like,
again, I call it the Draymond Green mentality. Hey, if I don't say it, nobody else will say it. So you know what?
He did come up with the "Life's a bitch, but God forbid the bitch divorce me" line, and he gave it to Nas, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken, that's why the whole Hit-Boy, Quentin Miller thing. Everybody's saying you can't give the artist and maybe y'all can school everyone else who's listening to this, but I've heard of rappers getting bars from whoever's in the studio. Like one bar is not everything. You can't.
And I heard the whole Beanie Sigel put your hands up. Jadakiss, this State Property helped out with that shit. That's what was said, like by a couple different members. Like they was all in the studio throwing lines around, and another motherfucker was like, "That's why you hear motherfuckers in the background ad-libbing on some of the lines when he said it." So, not saying it's true. That's what I heard a couple different State Property members say.
And again, we all got different definitions for the same word. Ghostwriting to me is what that nigga Quentin Miller did with Drake, where you got a whole reference track. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's ghostwriting. If you've ever been in the studio in the 90s when all your niggas are over there, somebody's gonna say, yo, you should say it like this or do it like that. Or, nah, don't say that, say this. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing. I write scripts. I got like 5 niggas I send it to who I know don't give a fuck about my feelings and will tell me the truth. And them niggas be like, nah, that scene was too long. Put it here. But I make sure with these niggas, we ain't going to court. If this script blow up, nigga, y'all are not co-writers. And I'm not trying to discredit nobody, but I'm like, nigga, y'all just giving me good ideas. Like, you know what I mean? And so, because then what will happen is be like, oh, I wrote that script for Kill. And it's like, no, nigga, you told me to cut out 2 lines. That's a whole nother motherfucking monster than you wrote the whole entire script. So again, I try to jump out in front of things before that, but I never thought somebody give them somebody a verse or a bar. Not a verse, but a bar is ghostwriting. Vague, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say to Cormega, I like the realness. I think that was the first time I liked Cormega. I think it had more to do with what he talked about than how nice he was. I didn't think he was nice. I didn't think he was better than me. Still not. But come see me, man. I could come out of retirement. It's cool. But I just kind of feel like with him, especially after that Drink Champs episode, it reinforced what I liked about him, right? Like, I just like his perspective on things, right? He is an old head from the 80s who's still rapping. So the expectation can't be, you know, you're not Nature, you're not AZ, or you're not Nas. The expectation has to be, this is the dude who they thought was nice when they were younger than him. And he, like the Locks and all them used to say about DMX, right? Like when DMX came out, I didn't rush as a fan. I'm like, this nigga barking. Like, y'all like that? Like, you know what I'm saying? But then I understood why he had that kind of energy and why people liked him. And I think with Cormega, that was the thing for me. But he can turn a lot of people off because he's not in the pocket the majority of the time when he's rapping. And that's not on purpose. We're not talking MF Doom not in the pocket. MF Doom is not in the pocket on purpose. It's a conscious decision to rhyme in this way regardless of the beat. Whereas Cormega thinks he's in the pocket. But it's like, no, you're not. You're a little off. I like what you said about such and such. I like that.
He has moments. He has moments in there. He has
his moments, like Angel Dust, or like when he was on Mob's second album. Like his fucking verse was kind of crazy on that. I was like, it's cool.
Oh yeah. What's the name of that song?
On Mob's second album? On Infamous?
On Hell on Earth.
Oh, Hell on Earth.
How you want it?
Third album.
Straight Blunted.
Right. Like he's in the pocket. And I'm do this shit. But that's just not.
Does he have a whole classic in him? This like he's put out albums with.
I personally don't think he has a classic, and I'm with you, Vague. After I saw Drink Champs, I was like, "Yo, I really like this dude. Like, I really like as an individual. I'm like, yo, this dude is really smart." And I was like, "Yo, I was coming back from New York, and I said, yo, I'm gonna listen to this album, and I ain't even gonna hold y'all. I fell asleep, bro. And I fucking put Freddie Gibbs back on. I woke the fuck back up and enjoyed the rest of my train ride back to Maryland. Like, you know what I mean? He's just not in the pocket. And again, it's just not for me. You know, that's I tell people that all the time.
Really quick, Kill. You know what's crazy? You and him have a lot in common.
What you mean?
Hip hop. He loves sneakers. He loves sports. Like, you niggas are alike a lot. Like, you would probably, but you just don't.
Like I said, I saw the interview and I was like, yo, like, I want to like your shit. Like, that's why I listened again, because I've listened to Mega before and I'm like, I don't think he's whack, but I just don't get it. It doesn't speak to me. You know what I mean? But it's like, from seeing the interview, I'm like, yo, I really like this dude. Like, yo, let me try again. And I'm like, no, I'm out. Now I'm out. And like you said, there's moments on High Tech's album, High Technology, he got a song on there. Right. You know what I mean? So there are moments when he's there, but again, it just doesn't speak to me. I always say, I believe in my heart of hearts, and I could be wrong. I think if Nas does not say his name in One Love, we are not having this fucking conversation.
Oh, yeah.
When that nigga said, what's up with Cormega? Did you see him or y'all together? I remember being there when One Love came out. Niggas be like, yo, who's Cormega? Cormega, that's an ill name, Cormega. And then when he came out, it's like, yo, Cormega rhyme. It's like, oh shit, that Nas man, okay. I think if we take that rhyme out of hip hop, I don't even know if we having this conversation about Cormega. Cormega may be Nature. And ain't nobody talking about Nature right now. And that's no disrespect to Nature.
But hold on, but Nature was nice.
No. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that right now, nobody is talking about Nature. Like, Cormega just dropped this album. I was on Twitter when that shit dropped, and niggas was calling that shit classic. Niggas was killing me. Kill, you don't know what you talking about. Mega's nice as fuck. This is another classic. Woo, woo, woo. So again, you know what I mean?
This is what happens when you reach your level of popularity on Twitter. Because, boy, I swear to God,
I make more money, man.
I don't listen. I'm glad that I don't bump into this. I'm glad I can get off and all Twitter and I don't get bothered like this. Maybe it is cool being on this level. I might have to have if I get more popular, get a bunch of what do you call them, burner accounts. That's crazy. I'm
telling you, I call them the Megatronics. When the Megatronics come out to play, they mean it. They love Mega. They don't fuck around with Mega.
And shout.
Me and Porsche go back and forth about this. Porsche loves Mega, and I'm like, yo, that's your man, and no beef. Let's not argue about it. You love him, I don't. It's all good. I'm not saying he's whack. He's just not for me. Again, I fucking hate tomatoes. Nobody's fucking on my timeline talking about you ain't having tomatoes out my auntie garden. Niggas just like, okay, you don't like tomatoes. Let that shit be the same way with hip hop. I don't like Mega. Okay, cool, no problem. I say that shit. Niggas is inboxing me 50 million links to Mega's verses. Nigga, I've heard them. You act like I haven't heard the nigga, and I'm like, please send me shit. It's just like, leave it be. I'm not a fan. Like, I wish him the best. I'm glad. I always tell folk with hip hop, I'm glad people like shit I don't. Because if we all didn't like the same shit would be boring. I'm glad Mega can feed his family and do what the fuck he wants to do, doing something he loves. He's not getting my money, but I'm glad he's getting somebody else's money. And I'm happy for that man for that. I don't, you know what I mean? So again, GNU, that's how I feel about Mega.
He's like killing it.
But trust me, Megatronics do. They'll tell you.
I didn't know that he had Megatronics though. I didn't know all that was going on.
Oh my God, yo. He has. They're out here, bro.
The only thing I saw was that he was like signing his merch and he was doing something special with his merch and giving it out or sending it out that way, personalizing it like that. So when I saw that, I'm like, damn, like Cormega really he flipped this really nicely. So I shout out to Cormega, but like I'm with y'all. I'm not a fan, and I'm from again it's from my borough. But
and here's the funny part, B. I actually may even buy the album just to support that nigga because I fuck with him just on another level. Now I'm dead ass. Like I do that with the Roots. Like I brought every Roots album. I haven't enjoyed a Roots album since Things Fall Apart, just based off the fact these niggas have done so much for my city. You know what I mean? I done brought Questlove's cookbook. I don't cook shit. Like I literally support anything that they put out just based off of what you've done for the culture, especially what you've done for my city. You know what I mean? So I'll give you $10 for holding the culture down, even though I'm not a fan of none of your fucking albums. Not Mega, but I'm talking about the Roots. Post Things Fall Apart like that. So they might. The only person I had left was Evidence from Dilated People, basically the same reason for Dilated, and Rick Ross. You know what I mean? Love Rick Ross, but for me, he just doesn't have a certified classic album. I know Vague. I'm sure everybody. What?
He got joints, but just no.
I think he got two. I'm not
classic. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna be. I know I was gonna be the odd man out with the Rick Ross joint. That's why I was saving it for last. Cause trust me, when I told niggas this, they was like, "Nah, man, God forgives, I don't." Port of Miami, and I was like, "Bro, just for me." And I just think it's just because, and I get it. He's down south. He always has to do some down south shit on his albums, and that shit just kind of throws me off. So again, I get it. That nigga's from Florida. I can't expect that nigga to make music all for up north niggas. You got to make your strip club music. And you got to keep your down south people happy. But for me, that is just what keeps it for me. It's kind of the same way with Dave East. I love Dave East, but I don't think Dave East got a classic album. You know what I mean? Because I feel like Dave is kind of being pulled in 40 directions. It's like, I know niggas like, yo, he need to get with that Nas shit. I'm like, yo, this nigga's like 33. That nigga want to make drill shit. Let him make drill shit. I respect Dave just because he'll do an album like Insomnia. Is it Insomnia? I forgot the name of it. But he'll do an album and I feel like it's all hip hop, and then he'll do another album that's all drill. I'd rather you do that than do like the cornucopia albums when you got 3 radio songs, 3 street songs, 3 down south songs, 3 drill songs. I'd rather you just kind of say, hey, gospel artists do that. When I first got down with CeCe Peniston, CeCe Winans, her first album, Everlasting Love, was like contemporary gospel. Now I was hyped for her next album, Alabaster Box, and it was praise and worship. And I was like, yo, this joint boring. And they're like, my old head who's in the gospel was like, well, yeah, that's praise and worship. That's a different form of gospel. That's not contemporary. You gotta wait for it to make another contemporary album. And I would like hip hop artists to do that, where it's like, yo, I get it. I'm a young boy, but I like old school hip hop. I'm gonna make y'all old heads out. But now I'm gonna do my drill shit. And it's cool. I ain't gotta pick up that one. I'll come back around on your next go round. You know, so but Vague, which joints do you think Rick Ross, the classic joints are?
Deeper Than Rap and Teflon Don.
Okay.
This was
Teflon Don on fire.
This is at the time when 50 Cent was trying to Ja Rule him, and the shit was not working because Rick Ross put out some fucking heat, and niggas were just like, that shit funny you did 50, but this shit flames. Like, you know, you're not gonna get us to do what we did to Ja Rule. But I thought about Rick Ross for mine because I'm saying that I don't know if it's generally, maybe Teflon Don is more general.
And I mean, they're close. Like I have some of these joints at 4.5. Like I think for me, some of them down south songs just pull it, just drag it down for me a little bit. But like I said, I gotta respect your gang niggas from Florida. I can't expect you to make music for a Philly nigga all day long. You know, you gotta keep your down south niggas happy too, and you gotta keep them strippers paid.
That Teflon Dawn album, he got a song Raphael Sadiq on it. That's really good.
Yeah.
You'll like that song, Kill.
Oh no! I fuck with Ross. He has a lot of dope. I mean, hell, what do people say when somebody big beats? Get Rick Ross the A&R you out. Like that's the go-to. You know, well, now it's West Side Gun. I actually don't think West Side Gun picks the greatest beats in the world. You know, but neither here nor there. That's the only thing I'm worried about this Stove guy. I really like Stove and Rock. So I'm kind of concerned now that he's on Griselda because are we gonna get conductor beats with that tag all day long? Or are we gonna like who's?
Hey, that tag is fire. I'm not even gonna lie. I like that tag, bro. I love the tag, bro.
Album does that like literally 20 times, and I'm like, bro, the tag is just supposed to be like in the beginning. Like you hear Hit-Boy in the beginning, you never hear Hit-Boy ever again. You know, you hear.
That's what I like about it because it's so like ridiculous, you know what I mean?
It's almost like it's a part of the beat.
Like it was like conductor, something that was very simple. Then he got this like conductor, we have a problem. Conductor, we have a problem. And the funniest part was I'm listening to Rome Steez on an Amtrak train, and I just hear conductor, we have a problem. I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck? What you mean we got a problem? So yes, it works. It works, Rome. It works, conductor. The fucking thing works. I was on a train. I thought some shit was going on crazy. You just don't have to do it 50 times a day. Like I said, the beat comes on, says Hit-Boy, and you never hear that shit again. We know it's a Hit-Boy song, and we walk away. You don't hear Hit-Boy all throughout the song, nigga.
It's like certain gunshots or the way certain car horns in a beat. I hate when they do that shit because I'm just like, yo, what the fuck? I'm looking around, and nobody.
Yeah, I just give me a simple tag, you know, just a simple tag, and we good to go. So that's the only thing I'm worried about with Stove God. It's just like who's producing it, and where's Derringer? Like Derringer just disappeared from Griselda. Like this was like they Funk Brothers, and he was doing everything. And then one day I just looked up and like Derringer.
He was on.
I mean, you know, he'll do a song here and there. I know he did on Tanner Talk 4. He did half of it, and Alchemist did the other half. But outside that, I haven't seen Derringer's name in a minute, like, you know, and it's sad. I mean, I'm wondering, was there beef? Because nigga, you all now that knows no more West Side Gun, like that nigga like done. Like 2-3 years ago, he was the go-to producer. That nigga had a beat tape out. Everybody was like Derringer. Nigga name was everywhere. Now it's like, you know, everybody done moved on, and now Conductor and all these other dudes. So I can't call it. Fabian, let them know where they can get at you, your sports podcast, everything. Where can they get at you, good brother?
Oh, right on here. We're gonna be on YouTube at Fabian Perspective, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Everything's at Fabian Perspective. You catch my reels on there, and also All Ball with Uncle Ice. That's another. We're really heating up. We're doing we're really studying the street ball legends. We just, like I said, interviewed Tony Childs. He was a street ball legend. We had Kareem Reed on there, the best kept secret the week before.
Arkansas, man, the Arkansas Razorbacks, man.
Yeah, man, he was just a super dope guest. It meant a lot. It was on brand. So, like I said, that we're really giving props to people like what you guys talked about with hip hop. Like we never know, just keep working because you never know where you're gonna land anyway. Because you might not want to rap in 10 years. You might get paid for ghostwriting. You might get paid for producing. You might get paid for doing something. dealing with hip hop. So the same thing with this. Like everyone talks about, yo, you could be a referee, you could work, internationally. There's so many avenues because basketball's such a big economy. So we really don't like if we get to interview Kevin Durant. All right, cool, but we really don't want to talk to you. We want to talk to everybody else because there's so many people involved in basketball. So that's All Ball with Uncle Ice podcast and me's favorite perspective TV. I talk about basketball, mainly my discrepancy with the Knicks, and that's at Favorite Perspective TV on YouTube. Everything's on YouTube.
All right, Gnu, give him everything, good brother.
Yo, hit me up on IG. That's really the only social media I fuck with. But at Mr. Gary Gnu. I took a little break on hiatus from the podcast, but we will be back 2023, man. But yeah, hit me on IG, man.
All right, no doubt. Vay, give him everything, good brother.
You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Vegas World INC. And if you want to check out some of my music, you can visit vegasworldinc.bandcamp.com. And also, I do podcasts like Hip Hop Twitter, where I react to tweets that I never see because I'm a grown motherfucking man. I can't play on a goddamn phone all day. Sometimes I do, I'm wrong. But you get my honest reactions to ridiculous takes on Twitter. And it's all comedy. And yes, that's why I did the Aaron Neville shit. It was just a demo for my podcast. I don't fucking give a fuck about Aaron Neville. So.
You on TikTok with that?
I promote on TikTok. Yeah.
That might take off soon, bro. That sounds like responding to tweets. That sounds like the craziest, most hilarious shit ever.
We don't need to talk about Aaron Neville ever again. This is how crazy this shit was. Literally, between the word Aaron and Neville, I started seeing that shit like it was a horror movie for like the next 48 hours. Like that night we got off and I'm on Twitter and some guy named Neville who follows me. I'm like, babe, Neville. Then the very next day, it was somebody Aaron something. I was like, yo, this shit is like a fucking scary movie, dog. Like everywhere I go, I'm seeing Aaron Neville shit. Then Rebel hit like, yo, I was talking to this girl about Vegas. She was like, the Neville brothers. And I'm like looking up the Neville brothers. I'm like, oh shit. Like, yo, it was somebody was like, yo, you're gonna see somebody with a big mark on their eye, birthmark on their eye. So yeah, we gonna leave Aaron Neville. This nigga haunts me to death. God, let them know where they can get at you, where they can buy your music, everything you cooking up.
Hey man, Twitter, Instagram, GodMC. That's GAWDEMCEE. Also follow the brand, the label, No Mediocre. Just replace the O's with an X. NXMEDIXCRECHI. No Mediocre Shy. No Mediocre Shy. No Mediocre NXMEDIXCRE.bandcamp.com. For all the music, filthy.bandcamp.com. That's FILTHE, filthy.bandcamp.com. Shout out to Filthy Analex Record Company. No Mediocre Records, that's my brand, my label. Murder Castle out now. Produced entirely by the Black Depths. Still got vinyl for it. Shit, man. That the Eternal Reflection, Hell's Angels, Heaven's Demons, I Am God, the first joint, all of them still in rotation. We sold out of vinyl for like damn near everything except for Eternal Reflection and Murder Castle. No, the first one too. We still got vinyl for I Am God too. So yeah, man, I got the No Mediocre hoodies. You know what I'm saying? Bandcamp. Shit, man. I wanted to put out more music this year, but I got a couple more features that might drop this year. But 2023, you know what I'm saying? I'm back on my shit. I'm trying to turn 2023 back into 2021. You know what I'm saying? I gave y'all 2 projects, The Eternal Reflection and Hell's Angels and Heaven's Demons. I'm trying to give y'all at least 2 next year. You know what I'm saying? So motherfucker working diligently. 2022 been a major transitional year for me. You know what I'm saying? Some ups and downs. But, you know, motherfuckers still out here grinding, still swinging a bat, still trying to knock them out the park. So, yeah, fuck with me. I am getting ahead without devolving. I am God. Chicago, never forget how to rap. Don't let me leave that out. Fuck you, mean.
Yeah.
You already know this. Kill 889 Twitter, IG. Speaking about Chicago, me and my brother Ev, he has a theater piece called Prophet, talking about the journey of an MC We've been on tour with that. We were in Troy, New York, Pittsburgh, New York, sold out. Manhattan in New York. Just got the call, God, we coming to Chicago 2023. We're gonna be in Chicago about 3 or 4 times to do the piece. So you already know we hitting you up. You know what I mean? That's go time right there. And also on the Chicago front, just finished doing a track with my brother Vic Spencer, who's a very, very dope MC out of Chicago.
Shout out to bro Vic Spencer.
Yeah,
I definitely
yeah, definitely. Just finished the track with Vic Spencer, guys. Shout out my man Joey, who put me on the stove guy. Connected
Shout out
me
Joey
with
too. That's up.
Yeah. So definitely. So we coming to Chicago, bro. So next year is definitely gonna be a dope year because that's where I've been wanting to get for the longest. So we definitely gonna come out there and definitely trying to get with all the dope MCs out there. Because it's funny when I talk to Joe, when I talk to Vic, same thing like you said. Chicago ain't never forget how to rap. Y'all got that shit down. Like y'all, that's y'all shit right there. So you know, every Chicago MC I talk to be like, don't think it's just the drill shit out here. Like nigga, we still rap out here. So
absolutely.
You know, yeah, so we that. Yo, appreciate y'all. I'm gonna check y'all next week, y'all.
Peace.